Oh, I was a little late on the ball on that one there, Grump.
Nice job botching the intro, TJ. Impressive. Most impressive.
I try my hardest, but welcome to the Islanders and Never Say Die podcast. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is our NHL analyst and expert, the grumpy old man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's right. That's me. And greetings and salutations, my friends.
Oh,
The grumpy old man.
Wow. That's a little different intro there for you, Grump.
What the heck? I'm going to wing it today.
Is there something going on that's making you unbelievably happy? What's going on,
No,
Grump?
I'm very unhappy right now.
What? Why?
It's nothing to do with the Islanders.
Okay. Fair enough. Sorry, Grump. Sorry we caught you on an unhappy day. But the Islanders, things looking sunny and peachy. There's a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to touch on the Tim Peel incident. We're going to touch on Sorokin, the Russian wall. There's a lot to talk on, Grump. But before we get diving,
stop. The Russian wall. Okay, it has to be like the Bulin wall for Nikolai Hobby-Bulin. Then
I know,
not the Russian wall. It makes no sense. Don't try to get creative. It's not your strength. All right.
He's gonna get a nickname, right? If he plays well enough, there's going to be a nickname they're going to have to give him, right, Grump?
It's not going to be the Russian wall. I'm going to tell you that right now because there's no such thing as the Russian wall. You understand? Hobby-Bulin was the Berlin Wall, so the Bulin Wall. There's no such thing as a Russian wall or anything like that.
Maybe they'll call him Scorched Earth or something like that, because anytime he comes to town, he absolutely depletes any type of offensive continuity your team has. I don't know. They're going to have to get creative with it. I'm excited. You know, we're just going to talk about Ilya Sorokin's performance. Is that better for you, Grump, since he doesn't have like a verified nickname just quite yet?
That's true.
Okay, Grump. Well, before we dive too deep into it, we've got an ad to read here from DraftKings. And basketball has officially entered the second half of the season, and it's time for teams to prove if they're contenders or pretenders. And DraftKings, the leader of one-day fantasy sports, is giving new players a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. Get on the action now and claim your free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes when using the code THPN during sign-up. Playing daily fantasy basketball is simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition and feel the sweat like never before. Every dunk, steal, assist means so much more with DraftKings daily fantasy lineup. Okay, never mind. I misread that last time too, Grump. Grump, who do you think is poised to make a good second half season push in the NBA?
I don't follow basketball. I could care less, honestly. Like I said, basketball doesn't even exist in my lexicon. I enjoyed college basketball, but without like I said, we mentioned last time, without the fans in the stands, it's just lacking something. Even with the upsets, just lacking something.
I just want to make sure I didn't read over the same portion we were supposed to discuss what we think about the NBA. Again, I'm not very well versed in that area either. But with DraftKings, payday comes every day for players. So what are you waiting for? Head to the app now and download the DraftKings app now using the code THPN during signup. This week, DraftKings is putting you in all the action with a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. That's code THPN. And you can get a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes only at DraftKings.com. Minimum of a $5 deposit is required, and then eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com there for details. Grump.
Excuse me, would it be wrong for me to say I'm waiting for the end of basketball season? Would that be wrong for me to say that? They ask, what are you waiting for? I mean, I don't know.
Why are you waiting for the end of basketball season?
Because I don't watch basketball. It's just taking up space on the channels.
It's taking us. What do you have? You got a bunny ears?
Yeah, let me tell you something. We used to have bunny ears, and we used to have to put tinfoil on them. Okay, we used to have antenna on top of the house, an actual antenna with a little wire that we snake through the roof, through the ceiling to hook up onto the back of the TV. I don't know. TV was different. See, all you youngsters are spoiled on all these channels. I mean, we had 13 freaking channels, and half of them were fuzzy or didn't work. I mean, that's just the way it was. And you know what? We survived. We're not spoiled like you youngsters of today.
Oh, goodness gracious, Grump. Goodness gracious. I'm sure you've noticed. Got a little bit of an update. We've got a little bit of an improvement on the quality on the podcast and the live stream. We finally got the camera up and running, the DSLR, so you should be able to hopefully see me in a little bit better quality. Again, just us making a little maintenance there on the podcast and the live stream. It's going to take me a while to get Grump all set up to where his is going to show in better quality as well. But he is, when it comes to technology, I'm pretty slow. He is an antiquated dinosaur when it comes to being able to implement these type of items. So it's going to take us a little while longer to get Grump all up and going on that.
I prefer the term glacial when you describe the pace with which I like to change things. But the one, you might be a little bit sharper, but the one benefit is you're further away, so we don't have to see as much as your face as we did previously.
That's right. You have more places you could stare off on, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
And I need better lighting because you look, I don't know, maybe it looks like you're in sepia tones over there. I don't know.
Oh, well, I think it's just now that I'm not using the web camera. Now we're actually using a real camera is all it might be.
Okay. Whatever.
That's what I'm going with, Grump, and that's what I'm selling. But
okay.
I want to go ahead.
The reason I bring it up is because for people who don't know, TJ is ultra critical with everything that I do. He doesn't portray himself like that during the podcast, but believe you me, he's a real nag. Okay, nagzilla. You heard of bridezillas? He's a nagzilla, and always criticizing. Even before we got on here, I had a beep on my phone. Hey, better shut that thing. Put that thing on buzz, buddy.
Is that how I say it?
It's exactly worse than that, actually. Usually throw in some filthy explicative. Bro, I'm just nice, not like you.
Wow. That's a real hard sell. Maybe it's a hard sell because of the way people hear the grumpy old man conduct himself, or just even the name grumpy old man. I feel like that's a hard sell. But before we pussyfoot around, Grump, we have to talk about Tim Peel. My goodness gracious. Was caught on a hot mic there yesterday and canned immediately thereafter. He was refereeing the Nashville Predators against the Detroit Red Wings game. And he was caught saying, I was trying to give I know there wasn't much there, but I was trying to give Nashville a penalty earlier with a little explicative thrown in there. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. I mean, is that anything that we really don't know goes on in sports, hockey in particular? I mean, how many times do you see it, right? A bad penalty is called on one side or too many penalties. And they even talk about it on broadcast. So they better watch out in the next few minutes. They had a couple of penalties against this one team. You know, it's because the referees even it up. Everyone knows that in any sporting event, not just hockey. I mean, they'll make this guy to be a scapegoat. Boy, they were quick to fire him over that, and it was only because of the hot mic. Otherwise, nobody would have said anything because that's been going on since they first put blades on shoes to start skating and playing hockey.
I think it happens across all sports. But Mike, again, like just to go ahead and provide the exact quote, Tim Peel says, it wasn't much, but I wanted to get a effing penalty against Nashville early in the game.
It wasn't much if you looked at the actual video.
They called it tripping when he just went ahead and checked the guy as he was skating there. Definitely a bad call.
It's a bad call, but I mean, gosh, we see bad calls. I mean, hey, I got it written down on my magic notepad here about the Flyers and what they were getting away with on Monday night. I mean, it's just so obvious, and they don't want to call things. You know, I think referees target certain players, Matt Barzal, and let other guys get away with murder against them. And then as soon as he retaliates, bang to the box. And, you know, to me, it's a bad look. It's so obvious. It's disgusting, honestly. And think about it. When you think about it, they even say, you know, okay, they're in the playoffs. You know, the referee's going to put their whistles away. Well, why should they? If a thing's a penalty at the beginning of the year, why shouldn't it be a penalty at the end?
Here's my question for you, Grump. In synopsis, do you think Tim Peel should have lost his job for those comments?
No, absolutely not. I think he was retiring at the end of the year anyway. They made an example out of him. I bet they pay him. I bet he's going to get paid. He just won't officiate any more games. I mean, they made an example out of him. Like I said, it's just you're not addressing the real problem. We're going to make an example of this guy like he's the only guy who's done that ever in the history of the sport. Okay.
What do you think the real problem is?
It's that they're selective when they call penalties. I think certain teams get away with a lot. Like if a team is always holding, clutching, grabbing, Philadelphia Flyers, they're not going to call everything. I think from the league, it comes right from the top of the league. We don't want to call a whole bunch of penalties and have the game turn into a slog fest where, you call a penalty every 2 minutes. I firmly believe that comes from the league. But in the same token, you see somebody like Matt Barzal, all you're doing when you're hooking, that's what made Mario quit years and years ago. He was sick and tired of the hooking and the holding because the officials let him get away with it. Lawrence Taylor, when he played with the Giants, he was held on every single play. And they're not going to call everyone. Well, instead of dumbing down, you should elevate the top players. If they're that good, you should allow them to show their talents as opposed to letting other teams, for the Flyers instance, gooning it up, or Washington Redskins, Joe Jacoby holding LT every single play. Instead of have them elevate their game as opposed to trying to let them do something illegal that penalizes a fantastic player. And that's what they do to Matt Barzal. And I can see why Matt Barzal takes those penalties. I really can. We're going to talk about him later today. I can see why he does some of those things. If the officials called the game like it's supposed to be called, you wouldn't see him taking those penalties.
Well, to some people's shock and maybe chagrin, Grump, you're not going to be overly glowing over Matt Barzal's play on Monday's game. And again, to show that you try to be as impartial as possible.
Okay. I don't try to be impartial. I am impartial. I don't try, but that's right. Everyone knows Matt Barzal is one of my favorites. And I thought that Monday he looked uninspired out there. I thought it's one of the worst games I've seen him play in quite a while. Honestly, I mean, there's probably reasons for it. The fact that it's a two-man line, but still, I just didn't think he brought the effort on Monday night.
I want to finish up real quick on Tim Pool. I want to circle back to it. I understand your point, and I understand what you're trying to convey as of, maybe this is a situation where, Detroit was getting all the calls, or maybe it was a situation there when the Predators were getting all the calls earlier on. They're trying to even it out. I do understand it. Here's my thing. Call the game as fairly as possible throughout the entirety of the game. If there's a penalty, call it a penalty. If there's not a penalty, don't make some shit up to try to even the score. I've never been a fan of that. I really haven't. If you've screwed up, because I get it. Sometimes the refs are going to make mistakes. And that's why they try to go ahead and make these, retribution penalties given the other way. The crazy thing about it, everybody's human. They're going to make errors. But, two wrongs don't make a right. Right, Grump?
Well, I look at it this way. When the referee is staring at Kuznetsov, cross-checking Matt Barzal in the back and breaking his stick on his back, and Matt Barzal staring right at it, Matt Barzal slashes him back, and he just gives Barzal a penalty. And what does it do? It sends Barry on one of those rants about Matt Barzal, which sends me on a rant saying, hey, you know what? Like I said, if the referee called the initial penalty, Matt Barzal wouldn't be retaliating.
Okay, let's hold on. I got to interrupt you. The original penalty, Matt Barzal was holding Kuznetsov's stick. So that was the original penalty, right? If we want to get granular about it, he was holding the stick. Kuznetsov regains control of the stick, cross-checks him, breaks the stick behind his back on a cross-check, and then they let things play on. Again, if you're not going to call any of that stuff, I have no problem. I don't really want to get too much into what refs do or don't call. I just wanted to get on the comment. We obviously all had thoughts that happens in professional sports, that they try to even it up. You hear commentators talk about it, as you aptly point out. In the same token, though, the optics weren't good about it, because I understand probably, again, it was taken out of context. It's a little tiny segment of 7 seconds. So we have no idea what happened before that, what happened after that. Maybe he was a 7-second clip, lost the guy his job.
Well, when you look at the new Webster's dictionary that's coming out this year and you see the word scapegoat, you're going to see a picture of Tim Peel on there, because he was certainly a scapegoat for the NHL, without a doubt. And if the officials did their job to start with, it wouldn't be an issue. But I mean, they're not going to call 100 penalties in a game. They're just not. I mean, is there any hockey game that you that you watch where you see you like the guy's always in the penalty box all the time?
No.
You don't want that. Like I said, a pet peeve of mine, and anyone who's listening to the podcast, the little tug of the hands or something like that. I'm like, come on. And then you let some murderous thing go on, like a cross check in the back. You don't call that. And as opposed to the granulation of earlier with the holding stick, that doesn't help my argument, so I'm not bringing it up.
Okay, gotcha. Again,
He absolutely does that. He will, when the guy's coming, he's definitely he holds the other guy's stick. He does that. He certainly does.
I kind of want to get back to it again. Like it's a tough situation. You can't make comments like that on a hot mic and keep your job. It's unfortunate. You don't get any of the context of what was said before, what was said after. And again, to think about it, that guy's been reffing in the NHL for over, I think, 1,300 games. And like that, it's gone. Yeah, I guess you can't be, and you got to be careful what you say. Obviously, he was hot mic'd there. Again, moving along now. This is not an NHL referee podcast, Grump. The Islanders went ahead and beat the Philadelphia Flyers. Notable, more points there for Oliver Wahlstrom. Continually exceptional play there from Sorokin. Again, starting to find his groove a little more. His first time starting in back-to-back games since being a part of the Islanders organization. And he looked like he didn't skip a beat against the Flyers.
Yeah, he was the number one star in my book, for certain. Nice to see him play back-to-back games. And he was outstanding. He was absolutely outstanding. I loved his aggressiveness in the crease. I thought his rebound control, putting rebounds in corners, was much better in that game. Honestly, he almost made like a 50% jump in how he had done that previously. I mean, everything was kicked right out in the middle. I thought he was so much better. I thought his athleticism was on display. I mean, the kid's really good. And, if we can continue to play like that, if he can continue to improve at this level, we're going to be really set and goal. I mean, like I said, let's pump the brakes on him early in the year. We don't know really what we have, but boy, he was fantastic the other night.
That performance of what we saw was what Islander fans were expecting, the white whale to have on a night in, night out basis. Again, like I probably came into the season with a little too heavy of expectations of what to expect right away. Again, like what we see here is he's starting to get more comfortable is kind of what we expect. He made so many of these cat-like reflex saves on redirections and on shots that were just changed right at the last second where I'm just like, man, oh man. He's a special type of goalie making saves like that.
Yeah, he was outstanding. And, he's not a big guy, but he was absolutely outstanding. Lights out. And the first period was sensational. Really was. Kept him in the game.
I mean, just look at these types of saves. He's going one way, covering the post. He goes ahead and makes that redirection, shifts himself off the post there with that skate. He's able to go ahead and throw his arm out there, make that cat, or he's not even on the post. He doesn't even have the leverage of the post to push back. That's just him, ice on the skate or skate on the ice. Just how quickly he's able to react and get his glove to capture and catch that puck. Unbelievable. And those are the types of spectacular saves I think Islanders were expecting all the time. Islander fans were expecting all the time. Love to see performances like we did Monday night against the Flyers.
And really what's lost in that was the really great deflection by Scott Mayfield. I mean, that was fantastic. Maybe you forgot what end of the rink maybe forget what part of the rink he was at. Forgot which side of the rink he was at. But it was a really good deflection, let's be honest, right?
It was a great deflection, an even better save, though.
It was. I mean, that puck was behind him. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Grump. Again, like and it was interesting. I was talking with Brush before the podcast there. Listens there, and he's got it. He does his little bit. He also speaks to the Drive for Five members and everything like that. He was talking to me. He was saying, how crazy is it right now that the Islanders have two guys that could be Calder Trophy contestants and finalists, perhaps? Sorokin.
Neither one of them winning that. The guy from Minnesota is going to win.
Yeah, Kaprizov, I think is how you pronounce the name. I think he's going to win. Obviously, he's had an outstanding season. But to think about it, we're going to have two guys probably in the running. They won't win in all likelihood. I think the kid from Minnesota is going to win too. But you've got two guys that are probably going to be top 10 in the Calder Trophy finalists. I mean, like, can you list the last time that happened? The thing is, he asked me. I'm like, I couldn't think. I'm not sure the last time the Islanders had two guys there in the finals.
See, okay, here's the thing. TJ, I had no idea what TJ's going to say on these podcasts. He'll pull some obscure thing. He likes that we do not talk about what's going on the podcast ever.
Because it's good not to have it planned. It's good to have it where it's more spontaneous. Again, like I have certain points I want to bring up throughout the podcast. That's my job as the host to kind of plan those out. Grump, we just like to see the reaction. We'd like to see what you have. You're the character.
Well,
you're all the charisma.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's something I would have absolutely liked to have an answer to, because there have been times where you see multiple players in contention for Calder Trophy, but I just can't remember them offhand. Where if I had like 10 minutes notice or 5 minutes notice, I could have figured that out. But
for the Islanders. For the Islanders. I think it's the first time in Islanders history we are going to have possibly, and again, if things continue in that direction, we're going to have multiple players, two players at least, two Islanders there that are going to be in the finalists there for the Calder Trophy.
Well, I'm going to bet we had that back in the 1970s. Like I said, I don't remember offhand, but I'm going to guarantee you we had a couple of guys coming up every year who were fantastic. So, like I said, without just even a modicum of preparation work from TJ. Here's the thing, I don't prepare a whole lot, but if you're going to ask me a question like that, that's something I'm actually interested in. But I have, mostly when you talk, name dribble, but occasionally you come up with a salient point, and I like to expound on it. But
it wasn't my salient point. I'm going to give Brush all the credit for it. He was posing that question. I'm like, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. And so I was like, it's just interesting to bring up there on the podcast, there, Grump, in the live stream. We have some comments. Brush is saying Grumpy is in a good mood. Wow.
Why do you think I'm in a good mood? Why? Think about it. TJ, I'm going to let you answer that question. Why am I in a good mood?
Oh, because the Islanders are beating the Flyers.
Thank you very much. As crappy as we played, and we did not play well. The Flyers, that was the first game where I thought the Flyers really dominated us, and I think they certainly did. I have some numbers here that we'll go over. We still won the game. And I despise the Flyers. So anytime we can beat them, I'm going to be in a good mood. I was even in a bit better mood yesterday and Monday, kind of worn off a little bit now.
You're riding the high waves at that time period. Oh, goodness.
I mean, think about it. Even though we only gained a point on those filthy Philadelphia scum, the fact that, okay, we're putting them further in the rearview mirror to remember, all the top four teams make it. The Philadelphia Flyers are in the 5th spot. And we have quite a few points. They have some games in hand, but anytime we beat them is a good thing for us. And for me personally.
Absolutely. Alexander's saying, one of these days when the Islanders win the cup, he will change his name to the Happy Old Man.
I'm going to tell you something. Little story here. It has nothing to do with the happy old man, because I'm always going to be the grumpy old man. That's just who I am. But I was thinking, if the Islanders won the cup, who would I be happiest for? And it's not funny, because I take long walks every day off short piers, as people know. A short trip to Crazy Town, I'm right there, which is fine. But I was thinking on one of these walks, I'm like, gosh, if the Islanders win a cup, who would I really be happiest for? And you know who I thought? I didn't think, not any of the players, none of the coaching staff, not me, the younger fans. The younger Islander fans who have to go through them being a bad team forever and ever. That's who I'm going to be happiest for. Is like people like you, TJ, never seen them do anything. Like they think, oh, a great season is making it to the Eastern Conference Finals and getting rolled by Tampa Bay. No, that's not the pinnacle. It shouldn't be. And those are the people I'll be happiest for. So there. Probably people don't think, oh, look at the grumpy old man. He's so nice. I am so nice. I get angry because I want things to go good for us.
I'll be honest. This has been a weird first 20 minutes. We've been podcasting for the better half of over 3 years, and the amount of, I won't say it, rosy colored descriptions you've been giving in positive comments. I can't remember a time where we've had like a 20-minute stretch where it's been like it's refreshing. It's genuinely refreshing.
It's boring, is what it is. Honestly, it's boring. But that's what I say. TJ accused me of being too negative, so I have to be, hey, Johnny, everything's great. Don't worry. It's not going to last.
Jerry Springer said, miss you guys. Love you, TJ and Grump. Oh, good.
Bear of Cincinnati. Got to love them.
And then Bush was saying the Calder wall.
No. It's got to be a nickname that's going to stick. You can't go just go. You only win the Calder Trophy one year. Now, if he might be the Smythe Wall or the Conn Smythe Wall, that would be saying something.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the numbers. It's funny. Do you know Sorokin's numbers off the top of your head, Grump?
They're really freaking good.
Yeah, they're really good.
The thing is, couple of games.
If you took out the first game where he got shelled when he didn't know he was coming in, his numbers would be absolutely outstanding. And the funny thing is, he's done so in such a quiet fashion.
Okay, think about it. Now I'm really going against character, and I'm going to compliment Barry Trotz, if you can believe that. It's the system. It's the system. Every goalie that plays in the system puts up good numbers. Why? I mean, we don't score a whole lot. We shackle everyone offensively, but it is conducive to playing a really solid defensive game, and that's why our goalies look good. And you see a kid like this who, let's be honest, he's more talented than anyone we've had on this team in recent years. He's certainly more talented than Varlamov, than Greiss, than Leonard. I mean, without a doubt. And when you put that combination of athletic ability and skill and talent in a system like this, I mean, it's the same thing with Martin Brodeur. He was a great goalie for, all those years, but he benefited from playing in that system as well. And that's what you're seeing with Ilya Sorokin. I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid. And like I said, let's still pump the brakes a little bit. But I see a great future for him. I really do.
Of course. But I'm just thinking to myself, how quietly he's now amassed his goals against average is sitting there at a 1.97, and his save percentage at a 9.22. My goodness gracious. To think about that, like he's only had 11 starts, and they'll probably be splitting time, maybe 50-50 here from then on out, because Sorokin's shown he's got the comfort, he's got the confidence a little bit himself. Again, there's still definitely areas where he can work on rebound control, angles a little bit, just with the change of the ice surface there. There's definitely room for improvement there on him, but it's crazy how quietly he's amassed those types of numbers.
Excuse me, TJ, am I supposed to be able to read these numbers? I mean, unless I have a telescope, I cannot read those numbers. I mean, you should, if you're going to post numbers up, if we have people a little bit older need glasses or something, there's no way they can see those numbers. They're way too small.
Look at the picture as well. My God Almighty! Again, like I picture at a little bit. They couldn't have done. Hockey Reference should have done a much better job of cutting out all of this white right here if they wanted to give him a black background. Oh my goodness!
Hey, don't be picking on Hockey Reference. They're one of my go-to sites, buddy.
That's why I use Hockey Reference. They're an outstanding site. But I'm thinking to myself, the budget of Hockey Reference, you couldn't have at least gone ahead and cut down a little bit, or even if you look like you give them a little bit of a haircut. I'm not seeing all this white in the background there, the picture where it was a bad edit. I don't know.
They're just picking whatever picture there's out there. The one that's all they do.
What they do is they go ahead and pick the picture and then they put the background, but they go ahead and edit it out to where all the background of the prior picture is gone. I don't think they just went ahead. I mean, that's one of the worst damn pictures you could have picked. I'm getting it off course. I picture edit a lot for other projects I do, and that's I didn't expect that for Hockey Reference. Just Reference in general.
So they do
baseball reference. They do a really good job across the board. I was expecting a better pitch than that. I'm splitting hairs, but
I mean, obviously, my gosh, you're picking on. I mean, maybe he just looks a little bit too pasty faced if they put a white background up there. I mean, I'm sure they tried a bunch of different ones, and that's the one that looked best. I don't think they said Ilya Sorokin. He plays for the Islanders. We don't like them. Let's make him look as bad as possible.
No. I just think it was sloppy work. I don't think they're trying to do anything with malicious. I just think it's sloppy work. We're getting back to comments though. The Wicked 50 Cal is saying, just call him the Gulag. Never lets any visitor / pucks in parentheses there into the net. Ooh. No.
Sorry. I like what Wicked says. I really do usually, but no. Sorry. When I hear the nickname, you'll know. When a good nickname comes around, you'll know. Actually, I'll have to start thinking one now.
Brian P. said, Barzal's new left wing. They're comparing him to Lucy Robitaille.
Okay, it's Luke Robitaille, not Lucy Robitaille. Luke Robitaille, a former Hall of Famer. And I'm going to tell you what, he must be talking about my pal Leo, because Robitaille's been retired for what, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and he'd probably still be better than Leo. I'm not like, here's the thing. I'm not saying probably. Luc Robitaille would be infinitely better than Leo right now. How do you
and here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, how do you put a guy who's a healthy scratch most nights because he's not even good enough to play on a team and you put him on the first freaking line? Okay, there you go. You got Matt Barzal and Jordan Eberle in the zone. Where's Leo? Who knows? He never got Matt Barzal trying to make a pass to the left wing. There's Leo. He's still at center ice. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I thought Bellows was actually playing pretty good with that line for the couple of games he had there. But hey, like I said, we don't want to risk putting too many goals in the net. Let's not have that happen, please. Let's put Leo back out there. Over expectations.
Oh, goodness gracious. Scott's saying Grumpy's upset because TJ's taking forever on his Grumpy Groupies merch. JK TJ. I'll tell you now, I've got everything going. This is one of the items I was working there on the actual display for the live stream, making sure that was up to snuff quality, bringing that to the 21st century. Next item of business is making sure I got the merch store all up and running. Again, like I want to make sure that the product's quality though first before we let you guys know about it. I don't want it because the ones we work with or whatever the Hockey Podcast Network suggests, I want to make sure it's good quality before I recommend it. I don't want to go ahead and make any recommendations. Everybody gets their shirts and it's like, oh, it's a shit show. So I'm making the designs, everything like that, and then we'll make sure that the quality is good before we say, hey, it's out there.
And I want to make sure that the shirts are good. Shirts you can wear for 20 or 30 years like I have. Not some stuff that is made out of that recycled seaweed plastic that they. I mean, who wants that? I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you should dump things in the ocean, plastic and stuff. I don't say that, but I don't want my clothes made out of that crap. I want cotton, 100% cotton. Heavy cotton shirts.
I have no idea what the quality would be like. I don't think it's going to last you 20 or 30 years. I'm shocked shirts still do last that long. It's few and far between these days. More comments here, though. Alexander saying, guys, I'm having a debate with both of my uncles. They have been Islander fans since the Cup years, and they think the Islanders can win without Barzal because they're doing it without Tavares. So they think they can win without Barzal. What do you guys think? Grump, I'll let you take this one first.
Okay. We didn't win with Tavares. We haven't won without Tavares. We haven't won with Barzal. And if Barzal decides to leave in free agency after his contract is up and he signs a 1-year extension because he's pissed and just takes a 1-year deal to get to unrestricted free agency, we're not going to win that either. I'm just going to say that without Matt Barzal, and even though he's not putting up points right now, without him, we have no offensive ability on this team. You can't take away the best player on the team and expect to win. And like I said, even with the team we have currently constituted, we're not winning the Stanley Cup. We're just not talented enough to take on the really, really good teams. The really good teams. The Tampa Bays, the Washingtons, the Vegases. We're just not good enough.
I'm going to tell you, the outlook of this team, I think, though, I have a lot more excitement for the outlook of this team than I've done in years past. Like, if we're talking about, even if we're looking at like a bar chart of like the level of excitement, or even like a pie chart of the level of excitement, when Barry and Lou were brought to New York, immediately I was enthralled. I think every single Islander fan was like, yes, we're going to become a legitimate franchise and legitimate organization. We're no longer going to be a laughingstock. Obviously, he's extremely high then. With Matt Barzal, leading the front, obviously John Tavares leaving, I think everybody dropped a little bit there in the excitement level. But with what we've seen this year out of Sorokin, again, a limited sample size, what we've seen out of Oliver Wahlstrom and the growth he's had this season, and what we've seen out of Noah Dobson, how could you not be excited and think that these young men are going to continue to develop and be absolute cornerstones of this team? I mean, like Oliver Wahlstrom, Grump, tell me I'm lying. That young man has the ability to be a consistent 30-goal-a-year type player.
You're 100%. Okay, think about where you just said you're excited for this team now. And what are you excited about? Are you excited about the Josh Baileys, the Average Anderses, the Croc Nelsons, the Lettys? No, you're excited about the young guys who have a future. That's what I've been preaching. Give the young guys a shot. It's a shot of adrenaline to this team. Oliver Wahlstrom, 30-goal scorer, certainly.
And Noah Dobson has, I think Noah Dobson, obviously with Norris trophies, they look at more what you can produce on the point, the points there in the point category, in the point column. Noah Dobson has a chance, though, to be, I'm talking about one of those defensemen that are regarded, one of the top 10 guys in the league. He's big. He can skate. He's got the offensive acumen to his game as well. That young man's got a bright future. And Sorokin, man, oh, man. Last night was the first night, or Monday was the first night, I feel like he was consistently tested throughout the entire game, and he came up big all game. And that's what I was looking for, one of those first breakthroughs like that. And again, like those are huge pieces of the cornerstone of what is the puzzle to win a Stanley Cup. I know you say we might not be there yet, Grump. I will tell you, though, as Wahlstrom continues to develop, as Dobson continues to develop, I think we look like a real dangerous team.
We just don't have enough in the pipeline to keep it going. That's my concern. And
I want to interrupt you real quick. You talk about the pipeline. Look at the majority of these teams that win. Again, like Tampa, obviously they're one-off. They're a dynasty. I mean, you can argue that they're a dynasty. The same thing back in the Detroit time period too. But if you have a guy who's an elite,
hold on, they're not a dynasty. They won one freaking cup. You got to win a few cups before you're a dynasty. The Islanders of the 80s were a dynasty. The Canadians of the 70s were a dynasty. One cup does not a dynasty make.
Okay, maybe I misspoke. Not a dynasty.
You did again.
So I misspoke. I'm sorry, Grump. I don't mean to use the word dynasty so lightly, and I'm sure we're not up to date there in the comments, but I'm sure the comments are just roasting me because the Islanders did have a legitimate dynasty. This is not a dynasty yet there for Tampa. Has the ability to maybe be a dynasty for certain, but if you look at a lot of these teams that win the Cup, they have to have unbelievable depth there on their centers, which the Islanders have. They have to have at least an elite winger, which the Islanders have coming. I really do believe that in Wahlstrom. The defense has to be stout. They have to have good goaltending. All of which boxes the Islanders are in the process of checking or have checked. That gives me excitement. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I just wish we wouldn't spend so frivolously on older players to re-sign them. I mean, I'm sorry, we could be so much better if we here's the thing. If you want to be a really good team, you're gonna have, it starts with the draft. You build from the goal out. Okay. We have done that. The thing is, okay, we got Wahlstrom. We have Barzal. Is there anyone else that floats your boat offensively? Really? On a consistent basis, because Bevelier can do it. Eberle can do it at points in time. Brock Nelson can do it. But
Jean-Gabriel Pageau can do it. I mean,
okay, there you go. But all right, for the most part, there's no flash and dash with this team at all. I mean, and I think that's the final piece of the puzzle is getting a couple of, like, I know I keep speaking Forsberg all the time. I think he'd be absolutely perfect for this team. I would give up anybody in our minor leagues, honestly, and even a first-round pick to get Forsberg. I think he'd fit like a glove with Barzal and Eberle. I would love that. And then when Lee comes back next year, you slide him down to the second line, right? Then you're not stuck playing Leo Komarov and Michael Del Cole on the first two lines every night. I mean, they're just not talented enough to play on the top two lines. I love that third line right now. I absolutely love it.
And that's why I have no problem at all with Oliver Wahlstrom being on the third line. And I said this. I have been saying this for many podcasts. I think our third line is as good, comparable, if not better, than some second lines in the NHL. I really do believe that. And you want to talk about a point of strength. That's a point of strength for the Islanders. That line gels so well. And having Bevelier now on that line, Jean-Gabriel Pageau and Oliver Wahlstrom have the chemistry. I also wanted to bring up something really quick aside. I want to address the comment there for Alexander. It definitely doesn't help if you lose Matt Barzal. In my opinion, I don't think it helps if you lose Matt Barzal. I think what the team has is we have the benefit of having four very, very strong centers. And when you have that, you help. I mean, we've seen the improvement there in the faceoff dot this season. You also see the distribution of the puck go in the favor there of the Islanders as well there with those center work. Having four strong centers down the line is important. unless you have somebody else to replace, to be a real true number one center. I think that does hurt if you lose Matt Barzal. This is something interesting, though, Grump. I saw a tweet about it. When Garth Snow traded away Andrew McDonald, do you know what he received back in return?
I think he got a second-round pick, didn't he?
A second-round and a third-round pick. The second-round pick we used to trade for Johnny Boychuk. And the third-round pick that we traded for was selected. Sorokin was selected with that pick.
Good deal. I never liked Andrew McDonald. I never liked him. He was another one of those. He was good. He was a good defenseman on a bad Islander team. He reminded me of Hickey. I mean, honestly, just, he's there. To get that for him, kudos to and I guess you got to compliment Garth Snow, who thought I'd ever do that. But that's a nice move right there.
Absolutely, it is. And I saw that. I was shocked. I'm like, I've got to let Grump know this.
Yeah. I'll take that every day of the week.
And Frank K is saying Sorokin finally had the game I was looking for where he was severely tested. He passed big time. The other games he played, the Islanders protected him. Yeah. I think as the Islanders feel more confident with him in that too, they could play more their style as well. They're not like, hey, we've got to be very conscientious back there. The first time we let him back there, we try to play our style, he got shelled. You know what I mean? As the team grows in confidence around him too, it bodes for overall better success on the ice. He's been unbelievably successful there in net to begin with. 8 wins and 11 starts. I think one of those being an overtime loss. So he's done a very, very good job here this season, but I think that's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know if giving up 38 shots on goal is protecting him or not protecting him. I just didn't think we played well. I thought the Flyers outplayed us on Monday. And like I said, as long as we beat those dirty clowns, I'm ecstatic.
Another comment here from Scott L. saying Leo is placed on waivers again and not claimed. No shocker. Does he need to go through waivers every time he goes to the taxi squad? Why can't Lou just put him on the taxi squad?
Why can't Lou just get him a job at the taxi stand and have him drive the guys to and from the arena? That's what he should be doing. He shouldn't be on the ice, I can tell you that much. He certainly shouldn't be on the first line. Why would Run up put me on the first line? I couldn't get in the zone either. What's the old man? First line, left wing for the New York Islanders.
When you get put on the taxi squad, I think there's a rule that you have to clear waivers at least once a month during that time period. Again, I'm not sure the exact nuances, but I know there has to be a certain amount of time or a certain frequency you have to clear waivers every time you're placed on the taxi squad from the active roster.
There is no risk of Leo Komarov ever getting picked up on waivers. No risk at all.
I don't think you have to worry about that either, Grump. Matthew S. saying, what's up, TJ and Grump? How you guys doing? And then Michael M. saying, only hockey fans Grump. Oh no. Do you know what OnlyFans is, Grump?
No. What is it? Is it some new thing? I don't know. Is it a social media thing? I don't know.
Just keep guessing. What do you think OnlyFans is?
I have no idea.
OnlyFans is essentially where people go ahead and it's a way that they kind of pimp their body out online, essentially like porn and nudes, but people pay to see stuff like that. So it's so
that should be a pay-per-view show? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know. Maybe not a pay-per-view show, but they wanted to see a pay-per-view, Grump.
Oh, let me tell you something. Well, no comment.
You're about to say something.
If there's no shackles put on me, watch out. And anything can happen. Anything. Not just hockey related. Anything can happen.
We got a comment there from David C saying, Grump, looks like your barber did a good job on AJ's hairs. Looked respectable Monday night. Was that true, Grump?
No. I said AJ is back. The rat's nest is intact. Her hair was all over the freaking place. It was like sticking out the damn side. I'm like, woman, please. Run a comb through it. That has to be a T-shirt. Run a comb through it. I just have some sloppy ass mess on top of a silhouette of a hen. Her hair did not look good. It didn't look good. But I was glad she was back. I like AJ. She's got a good smile, and her and Shannon have nice chemistry.
Yeah.
we got to hear how she was, didn't like the wraparound the other night. And she's got a long reach, she's pretty tall, she's pretty tall. And then, when she moved to defense, probably because she was Josh Bailey-like, they put her back on defense. I don't know. I didn't watch any AJ games. This is totally, I'm ripping here. But she said that, she tried to defend it, but she never liked the wraparound. But hey, I liked it Monday night. That's all I got to say. I can't believe Elliott did not get to the post on that. I can't believe it.
It feels like forever ago, too, thinking about that game because the Islanders didn't play. They haven't played on Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday. They haven't played. They have 2 days off. Obviously, it was because COVID was the reason why the Bruins are playing them tomorrow, Thursday.
Well, have we heard if that game is canceled yet? I don't think we've even heard yet. It could be canceled again. That's not good. That's not good for us. It's really bad for Boston, but it's not good for us either. You don't want to have I know we have less games to play down the stretch, but you don't want to have to play a lot of back-to-backs. Certainly not with the age of our team. You don't want to do that.
I understand that, definitely. Alexander brings up a point. NHL has a referee problem. I have a question for you, and I was thinking about this. If Wes McCauley was the man who was hot-mic'd, and that happened to be leaked of him saying that, what do you think their repercussion would have been, if any? Because, again, Wes McCauley is a loved and favored NHL referee. He's the only one I can know always by name. Again, I had no idea who the hell Tim Peel was, didn't know his name until yesterday, to be quite frank, or this morning, to be quite frank. But Wes McCauley, everybody knows who Wes McCauley is. What do you think the repercussion would have been if that was Wes McCauley who was hot-mic'd?
Might have got a little suspension. Like I said, really, is anyone really ignorant or stupid enough to not realize that goes on in professional sports? Maybe, just, fly-by-nighters, people who really don't pay attention. But, every sport's the same thing. Tony Romo said in the Super Bowl after the first half this year, well, those penalties are going to even out in the second half. Kansas City's had a whole lot. Well, you know what? That's the announcers know it. The players know it. The coaches, everyone knows it. It's not called down the line, and they look and they're like, oh, geez, hey, Johnny, we called 15 penalties on the Chiefs in the first half. Let's get a couple of evens up in the second half. Oh, boy, the Islanders, they had 6 power plays. You know what? Let's give them a couple of penalties. Let's fire up somebody, say, hey, go slash Matt Barzal in the back. Don't worry, you're not going to get called. He'll retaliate, and we're going to give him the 2 minutes.
Is that what they do? Wes McCauley says. Is that what Wes McCauley says? He's looking down the sheet. He's like, oh, crap. I usually don't call penalties, but I called 1 penalty against the Flyers tonight. Hey, go ahead and get to slash Matt Barzal when he retaliates there and he's goaded into a penalty. We'll immediately make sure to give him a penalty there so we could end the game at a 1-1 penalty draw. Is that what you're looking for, Grump? Is that what happens?
That's what he says. And then he goes like this. And then we're going to listen to Barry's press conference after the game and rip the crap out of Barzal, and we're going to laugh.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that betting odds to Vegas so I can make some money in that capacity. Hey, referees have been known to bet before, right, Grump?
Hey, they had that scandal in
the NBA. Yeah, I'm sure it happens in the NFL. I'm sure it happens all across the board.
You know what? It's so easy to do, just little things. It's, you know what? Would it surprise me if it goes on? No, it would not.
Got a comment here from Scott L as well, saying not Islanders related, but former St. Louis Blue player Bob Plager passed away today in a car accident. I never saw him play, but I know he was big with the Blues and alumni and the St. Louis communities. Grumpy might remember him.
Absolutely. The Plager brothers, there were 3 of them. They played on the St. Louis Blues, and right from the beginning of the history of the franchise, 1967-68 season, it was Bob Plager, Barclay Plager, and I think Bill Plager were the 3 Plager brothers. Really unfortunate to hear that. I heard that he was really big with the Blues alumni. You hear about it talk a lot on the Blues NHL games, and just really a good hockey family, and really a sad day for St. Louis for certain. And he was a good player, really good. Here's the thing: you got to remember there were only 12 teams at the time, and to be an NHL player, you had to be pretty darn good. And all the Plagers played together. It was great.
And then Frank K saying the refs screw the Islanders more than anyone. The league hates them, and it kills the Islanders. It kills that the Islanders had a dynasty and the Rangers never will. It's blatantly obvious.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm not one to criticize the referees most of the time, but when you see some of the stuff that goes on, and you see, like, I'm going to go back to Monday's game. All night they were interfering, hooking, holding, slashing Barzell, and then you call in the last 2 minutes of the game. You call a penalty on Nicoletti, and okay, it was a trip, and it was, but it's borderline. But you call that in the last 2 minutes of the game when you let everything else go the whole rest of the game. It drives me crazy. I mean, I remember my dad when he was alive. He said he was gonna. Who can we write to? Like watching, hey, and he was older, right? It was like, hey, we're gonna send a telegram, or we're gonna write a letter and send it to the NHL office. Who can we send it to? We see these penalties go on, and they're not getting called, and we see something go the other way. I mean, it even drove the grumpy old man crazy. I mean, and it's frustrating. It's super frustrating. And I watched it. I'm like, I cannot believe you call that penalty on Letty after you let everything else go. Frustrating. Maybe that's why the Flyers looked so good the other night. They were allowed to interfere and hold all night.
I want to get you touch a little bit on Matt Barzal. You said he was disinterested, though.
Okay, I didn't say he was disinterested.
He looked disinterested.
Yes. Don't put words in my mouth. I'll tell you exactly what I said. I thought he looked disinterested. He just didn't. And I don't know if it was because Leo was on the line. I mean, he doesn't have a left winger. He's just playing with Eberle. I don't think Eberle played particularly well. But I thought, for me, that's the first game I've seen him look disinterested. And he didn't even play a whole lot the first two periods. I think Butch said he played like 11 minutes. And Butch went against the company line there and saying he thought Barry should put him in more. Probably Butch got fined, after that comment. Who knows? But, I mean, I don't think his play warranted extra ice time. But here's the thing. The only guys who really deserved to play in that game was a third line, because the second line was a disaster out there. And so was the fourth line. I mean,
I'm telling you. Going forward, I really do believe that third line is going to be a difference maker for us. I really do.
I love the speed element to their game. And I tell you what, Wallstrom's a goal scorer. You know how you can tell? Because you see things that other players would take shots at, hit the boards. He has a bad shot, it bounces off, it goes in the net. He just has that goal scorer's luck. And that was a really, he dug that puck out, snapped it right in there. I mean, it was fantastic.
He also hit the post earlier on in that game too, or maybe it's a crossbar, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he had him beat. I mean, he has improved so much. I know I've said it numerous times before. When I watched him in the World Juniors a couple of years ago, I'm like, I don't know. This shot was always there, but I'm like, man, he didn't seem like he had a whole lot of compete. He didn't seem like he was a really good skater. I mean, you look at him now, it's freaking night and day. I mean, I wish we could do a night and day segment, like just post some stuff up there, like TJ with the little Videotron, show, hey, here's here, look at the difference, something like that. But I'll leave that to TJ. I mean, if anything, we have no merchandise. He's got himself some fancy new camera thing. Me, I get criticized all the time. They criticize my lighting, everything. I don't know.
Well, I think it's interesting you bring that up. Who do you really give credit to for that?
For what?
For the change in mindset.
Development. I mean,
the change in mindset, I think, is what you're talking about there. When you say that, hey, he looked, when he was originally in World Juniors, the compete level maybe wasn't there. I mean, you're not the only person to have said that with his World Juniors performance either. But, I mean, who do you really give credit to? I mean, like, obviously there has to be an introspective point there.
It's him.
For the young man where he's got to make that change. But, I mean, the Islanders organization, I think Barry Trotz, too, is also to thank there for that, too.
It's him. It's him. A good coach. And Barry Trotz is a good coach. I rip him because he does some dumb crap. Absolutely does. He's not infallible. But he's a good coach, right? I mean, he's certainly one of the top 5 coaches in the NHL, without a doubt. And a good coach gets that out of a player. And I don't know if it's him or if it's Lambert or who it is, but the kid has made a quantum leap jump. I mean, he really has. You think about it, Barzal, even the last game aside, his game this year has taken a huge step forward. And I've been critical of Barry Trotz for ripping him in the press, and I think it's negatively affected him in some way, shape, or form from where he was at the beginning of the year. But,
you don't think it's just Anders Lee not being on the line? That's what people are throwing out there. All I'm going to say is I try to represent all the parties' beliefs there. Do you think that is also having an effect? I mean, like to a certain extent, I'm sure it does, right? You have Anders Lee on the line, and now you've got Leo freaking Komarov. I mean, that's going to affect any line. That's going to affect the chemistry. I mean, that's a significant downgrade, no?
Yeah, but like I said, I thought that could have had it. When you're only playing, it's a 2-man line in essence. I could see where. And here's the thing: what did the Flyers do? 3 guys on Matt Barzal, 2 guys directly on him, and 1 guy kind of shadowing him from a distance. I mean, that's what happens when you don't have enough talent on your team where they can focus all their attention on 1 guy. And I think that frustrates him. And
I think talent on the line, not the team. I think the line.
Well, if we had more talent on the team, he'd have better line mates. Okay, let's be honest, right? He'd have better line mates.
A little workaround, but I got you.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, look at how Boston plays him. 2 guys on him all the time. I mean, they don't have to worry about everybody else on that line. It doesn't. And Anders Lee was on that line at that time. They didn't have to worry about him unless Barzal did something fantastic. It wasn't going to happen for that line. But I digress.
Well, we've got another comment here from Michael M. saying, TJ, do you think Anders Lee has outplayed Patrick Kane this year? Oh, my gosh. More in a school of thought that misrepresent my words and misrepresent the comment I made 3 years ago.
Incorrect. Now there's no misrepresentation.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
At all. No misrepresentation at all.
You have an aneurysm.
You'd rather have Anders Lee than Patrick Kane. That's what you said.
Are you having an aneurysm, Grump?
Yeah, when I heard that comment from years ago, it did spark an aneurysm.
No, what I said was at the time period, Anders Lee was more important to the team and the sake of the Islanders as a whole for that year than Patrick Kane was. I told it again, and the reason being is because of what he brought off of the ice in the leadership, and I think I've always thought this. He perfectly encapsulates what it is to be an Islander and what it is to be part of this organization. I've always thought that.
Okay, it's not what you said. We're not going to get into this again. I swear, if I had any type of technical expertise whatsoever to pull up that old podcast, because it just shreds you. It shreds any credibility you have.
The funny thing is, that's back when we used to be solely on SoundCloud. We used to have to pay there for SoundCloud every year and everything like that. But we don't utilize that anymore. So I'm not even sure. I'd have to go reactivate the SoundCloud Unlimited or something like that to actually access that particular clip. We'd be looking and searching there for a while. David C, though, saying the fire hydrant is looking sharp. TJ, thank you. Again, we're going to be adding more Islander stickers and stickers in general if you guys have any suggestions there. I do appreciate it.
You know what? It looks like a banker's fire hydrant.
I'm not a banker.
Whatever.
You keep calling me a banker. I'm not a banker.
All right, you take money from people, all right, and you invest it or something. Whatever you do, I don't know. But here's the thing: it's so regimented. Let's make sure that this one is straight, no overlapping in any way, shape, or form. Man, you should have that stuff blistered with stuff on there, overlapping everything, and so it'd be fun to look at. Oh, let's look at this. Here's a stick. Here's a puck.
Okay, if you can't notice, there is a lot of empty space on this. So sorry, I didn't want like one section like this to be filled. And you talk about my job. My job is to fight with people online regarding the Islanders. That's my full-time job. It's to stir shit online on social media. No, I don't do that. I very rarely do I do that.
That's why I should get social media. I bet everyone would love me. No one would ever criticize me.
Gotcha. Scott L is saying Dobson off the protocol list, but didn't travel with the team to Boston. Yeah, they said he was on a ramp-up period or something like that, if I understood correctly.
Did he have COVID?
Yes, I think he had to have had COVID. To be out there for more than 10-plus days. I think it was it like 9 or 10 days? He had to have had COVID.
Okay. It'll be welcome to have him back. That's for certain.
Again, we didn't miss really a stride we did. I think we lost 2 games since he's been out. But in the same token, Noah Dobson is a big plus to have back. We will welcome him back on the roster with open arms.
Yeah. I love the young guys on the team. I absolutely love the young guys on the team. Let's dump some of the dead wood and just more young guys.
Well, it's funny. I've got a lot of comments here talking about how the NFL referees are the most crooked of all the bunch, and they're bringing up Super Bowl games. They're bringing up different games of how referees absolutely blew and missed it. We're getting some Tom Brady comments in there. Again, just not to show them, just to let you know, as a whole, people are just talking about the NFL probably more crooked than the NHL when it comes to officiating.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, it happens in the NFL for certain. I mean, they got the girl referee who just sucks. I mean, she's got to look with somebody else before she makes a call. Hey, she's the best in her position this year. Really? Why? Because she can stare to her left and her right to get a call from somebody else?
Anyway, moving along there. Bush says Hickey's game is a plus. Trading value will go up more the more games he plays. I think Trotz needs to give him a rest. Or give Green a rest, Green a rest.
I've been saying it all year that Andy Green was going to be a guy who suffered with multiple games like that, playing 3 games a week, 4 games a week. And once again, Grumpstradamus was spot on. And Hickey, the first 2 games, hasn't embarrassed himself as much as he usually does. I thought he was pretty good the first game. I thought he was a little less so last game. But, I mean, we have a lot of defensemen. I don't think that Hickey's going to get traded. I think they like him. Honestly, they like him as a 7th defenseman. And as long as he's a 7th defenseman, I don't have a problem with him. The only problem I ever have is when he's in the lineup.
It's interesting you mentioned that. I think he's done a good job. I really wasn't sure what to expect from Thomas Hickey, not having played really in close to was a year and a half. It doesn't look like he's out of place.
Well, it's funny because they did shift up the defense pairings a little bit for portions of the game on Monday, where Pulock and Pelech, and I think Pelech has not looked good recently. I mean, he's getting walked around a couple of times, and Pulock's been a little sloppy with the puck. I mean, they're still our best defense pairing, but they haven't been as locked down as I'd like to see out of them. And they had Leddy teamed with Green. Which I thought was, interesting. And then Hickey with Mayfield, maybe a more calming influence, having Hickey back there, with Mayfield, less minutes. I mean, maybe that's what we look at it. And the less minutes for Hickey, the better, I guess, as far as I'm concerned.
But I think the central point, though, Andy Green does need a rest. I thought he looks slow. He doesn't necessarily look like the defenseman we saw last year towards the bubble or in the playoff time period. He can't, in my opinion, it's better to give him adequate rest throughout the remainder of the regular season because he needs, again, like if you want him to be there ready at full capacity for the playoffs and the playoff push, you have to make sure you give him the adequate amount of rest. He's 38-year-old defenseman. And again, you only have so much tread on the tires.
And as I said earlier in the earlier podcast, I think Dobson's really carried him this year for the most part. I think Green still serves a purpose as a mentor, but Dobson is certainly surpassed. He's the pupil has outgrown the teacher, shall we say.
Alexander, it's a funny mention that Scott Mayfield has been horrible this year. I thought he did better on Monday, but yeah, as a whole, this year has not been a good performance there by Scott Mayfield. We talked about that last podcast too. I think he's been somebody I've been unbelievably underwhelmed with. This season.
To me, it just accentuates the loss of Devon Taves because he made Scott Mayfield look really freaking good, and we gave him away for 2 second-round picks because we mismanaged the cap. Thank you, Lou. That's what happens when you got to trade young, budding defensemen, not even a year and a half into his NHL career, and you give him away for 2 seconds.
Oh, goodness gracious. Bruce is also saying, I hope they keep Leon long-term injury through the whole summer. So maybe that they do have more ability to go ahead and sign and have more ability there for financial maneuvering there. So until you go ahead and offload somebody there to the Seattle Kraken, you'll have that available cap space where you can go ahead and sign back Sorokin. You can sign back Pelech and Beauvillier.
Yeah. I mean, why would they take him off of that until he's ready to play? That's the only time that you take him off. I'd like to see him put Andrew Ladd on long-term injury. I'm sure if he walks across the street, he's going to pull a muscle and blow out an ACL. Just dump him on long-term injury.
Oh, goodness gracious. David C. wants to know, Grump, would you swap out Green for Hickey when Dobson returns, probably on Saturday?
I don't like Hickey in any way, shape, or form. I think
He's played well though this 2-game stretch. No,
he played well the first game. The second game, not so much. Obviously, because they put him as a third pair. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a Hickey fan. Green has not looked great, but Dobson could probably even make Hickey look good. Here's the thing I hate about Hickey. He thinks he's a forward. He thinks he's a freaking forward. He forgets the defense and defenseman is actually part of his job description. That's the problem I have with Thomas Hickey. Always have. He thinks he's a freaking winger. He thinks he should go down right there in front of the net, try to score goals, and he's not good at it. It's like Leo Komarov in front of the net. You're not getting anything out of that.
You know one thing I'll never forget though, Grump? I was trying to pull it up earlier. Do you remember when Thomas Hickey flattened Zdeno Chara? Absolutely flattened Zdeno Chara. You want to talk about that monstrous hit. I'll tell you, Thomas Hickey could throw the body around. He's laid some monstrous hits throughout his time. None bigger and greater than flattening the mammoth himself in Zdeno Chara.
He's a pith ant. That's what he is.
Oh, come on.
He's not. I mean, yeah, I remember the Chara hit. I'm surprised you don't have that on an endless loop.
I tried. That's what I was trying to look for earlier. I wanted to see if I could pull it up just like with a quick Google search. I wasn't able to. So I'm not sure how much digging I'm going to have to do because I love that hit. He flattens them. You know what it was? Zdeno Chara was supported by by 1,000 support beams behind him. As Thomas Hickey was skating and he had to come to a complete stop just through a little bit of a shoulder. It was such a huge Herculean shoulder throw that he knocked down all those pillars and Zdeno Chara all at once. If I recall that fish story correctly, I think that's how it happened.
So let me ask you a question. When you put in Thomas Hickey body check, I'll bet you come up with no results, right?
No, he had like huge ones, like Thomas Hickey body check against Jonathan Drouin, all this other stuff. When I did type in originally, Hickey knocks down Zdeno Chara, it actually said, you have misspelled this, type in hockey. So I did find that kind of funny.
Okay. Yeah. What does it tell you? He's not even good enough to be on Google search.
We've got here Alexander saying, TJ Grump, do you see a scenario where they move Everly to the left wing and bring Wallstrom up to the right wing on the first line?
No.
I was about to say that third line is playing so well. And again, I think our third line is better than most second lines in the NHL. I mean, they're gelling. Everything's going well there for them. I think Jean-Gabriel Pageau's done an excellent job, even though he's a third line center. He's not a third line center.
No, but I like him on the third line. I like. That's when you get into trouble, when you try to elevate guys above what their talent level dictates they should be. Leo Komarov, Michael Del Cole, they're very serviceable as fifth or sixth line players, but for some reason we put them on the first and second line. I can't believe I didn't even get a response from you, TJ, when I said fifth and sixth line players. Honestly, I
let you finish your point because if I speak over you, the sound comes muffled for all parties. So I was letting you finish.
I'm going to say because you had no response. But to my point, the greater point is when you have to have guys play above what their talent level is, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, and I can rip on Leo Komarov because he's not a first-line player. But if he played, he's not really even a fourth-line player anymore. But if he was on the fourth line, he wouldn't look as out of place as he does on the first. The same thing with Michael Del Cole. He's in the real world, he's a fourth-line player.
A third or fourth-line winger.
He doesn't produce at all. Not at all. He's a fourth-line player. He brings energy, and kudos to him, honestly, from a kid who scored a lot in juniors and can't put the puck in the ocean if he stood on the side of a pier now. But somehow he's on the second line. To me, you're just asking for trouble. You ask those guys to too much and you expose them. That's what happens.
Gotcha. Alexander is saying also, Grump, is there any Flyer player that you hate the most?
Jesus. I mean, honestly,
I don't want you just to list the entire freaking roster of all Flyers in the history of the sport, but if you had to pick one who you hated the most in the history of the Islanders and who you hate most the history of the Flyers and who you hate most on the Flyers team currently.
It's got to be that no-tooth bastard Bobby Clark. I guess he was just a sneaky little piece of shit. He'd always stick guys. He'd start fights, and then the rest of the goons would come in and jump. This is before they had third man in, and they jump him. I mean, and he'd do Ken Linsman. nicknamed the Rat. I mean, you got a nickname like that, you know you're on the Flyers. Moose DuPont, the Stork, Donson, all of them. I hate all of them. Every single one. Bill Barber, the diver. Woo! I mean, look up Bill Barber dives. I mean, that's on YouTube. I mean, shit. The kid could have been. He could have been the damn Olympics. I mean, seriously, when he dove, it was like at least 5. I mean, he was good at it, but it's like, holy crap. I mean, you don't even see this in movies. Stuntmen couldn't make dives like that. Brian Davis couldn't make dives like that.
Brian P is saying Sorokin stole the game, but I had to hear from certain Islander fans what a great idea to have Komarov on the first line. Needless to say, I was in a lot of arguments.
Okay, here we go. There's a couple of things. Here's the thing. I've been so nice this whole podcast, trying to be nice because TJ says I'm too negative, even though
stop.
That's okay. All right, it's not true. Okay, Butch called Kami. That's Komarov, by the way. But since he's a Russian, he's Kami. A stabilizing influence on the first line. What? He's an absolute liability on the first line. What's the stabilization? That he never leaves a defensive zone when they're in there 2 against 5? I mean, it's just I can't even believe it. And then they made the thing how Matt Barzal. Who said this? That Anders Lee made Matt Barzal a better player. Please, he doesn't stand in front of the net. I mean, he's like a tent pole. That's what he does. I mean, he's a dime store Indian. He just stands there. That's it. That's what he does. He doesn't move. He had nothing to do with Matt Barzal. He benefits from Matt Barzal.
I listened to that partially, but I stopped listening for this next comment. Now, Jerry Springer,
former mayor of Cincinnati,
has some of the most outrageous comments and questions that are asked on this podcast. Well, he's got a comment for me, Grump, and I'm just gonna post this up here. I'm gonna read it. TJ, why do you have more hair in your Facebook profile pictures than you do on the live stream? Are you in denial about your receding hairline?
Damn.
You're going to be looking like Grumpy by the end of the podcast at this rate, at which you're receding. Y'all talk a lot about AJ for 2 dudes that are rapidly balding. For certain, I talk a lot. Yeah, the hair is receding back like Napoleon at Waterloo. That's okay, though. It just is what it is. I'll just shave it all off when it gets to the point where it's where you can't be reconciled. It cannot be reconciled. That being said, you see my hair though. Shit, at least I know how to put product in it when it's not flying all over the place. I will tell you that much. I do that though with the hair. But yes, the hair is receding. Those Facebook profile pictures. Oof. I don't know how old they're. I think that's when I was still playing football. I was back when I was like 310 plus pounds. I was looking like a warthog. So that was many years ago. Now 27. Creeping on in there to 28 years old. I mean, the hairline's receding. There's only so much I can do. Not everybody is gifted with a beautiful locks of hairs like yours, Jerry, and like Frank K. So there's certain people where I'm like, ooh, that's nice to have that good head of hair, but it is what it is.
Oh, I love this comment by Jerry Springer. It's the best one of the night, honestly, because nobody's been complimenting me. So this is the next best thing, ripping TJ. Now, I don't know. TJ kind of lets everything slide off him like, water off a duck's back. He's always a little fence rider or Pollyanna guy. But, boy, you pick on his hair. Listen to him. He even attacked AJ a little bit. That's my job, by the way. And you want to know why I talk about AJ's hair? Because she's on freaking television. That's why, not because she has more than me. I mean, every woman should have more hair than I do, realistically, okay? But it's the fact that she doesn't comb the damn thing and doesn't put any spray on it. I mean, Shannon knows that you have to put condition in your hair. Shannon knows you got to put product in your hair to get it to look straight. Nobody's told AJ. I mean, they need to tell her that. That's just constructive criticism from the grumpy old man to my pal AJ.
I even use conditioner, Grump, on the little hairs I have. I've got to. Imagine how quick they would all be gone if I wasn't using conditioner.
I don't put conditioner in my hair because I have too much hair come out my hands when I use conditioner. So, and I am follically challenged. Don't call me bald. That's like politically incorrect. I'm follically challenged.
That, you know what? That is, Grump. Anyway, moving right along there. I like the comment, though, Jerry. Angela's saying, Grump, did you get your retro Komarov jersey yet?
No, I didn't get the Russian national team jersey from Komarov yet.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness. Here we go. This is what I was saying. Brush is saying Grumpy is in a weird form so far.
It's because TJ attacked me. He attacked me.
I attacked you?
He said I was way too negative. I was too mean to certain members of the Islander organization. I'm too mean. Oh, Grumpy old man, you're too mean. You need to be nicer. You need to be nicer to these guys.
Oh, goodness gracious.
TJ's a licking weasel.
That's me. Scott L is saying Sorokin, the Stonewall.
No. It doesn't have to have a wall reference. Maybe they call him plexiglass or something like that. Everything bounces off. I don't know.
Brian J saying he's going to want a big contract. Is Varlamov going to Seattle or another team next year?
No way. They're going to protect Varlamov.
For certain, they will.
Yep.
I don't think Varlamov's going anywhere. Varlamov's played extremely well this season too. So,
and what we also don't appreciate, he's probably a really good. It's good to have him on the team with Sorokin because I mean, as well as the kid speaks English, I mean, think about it. He's only been doing it since whenever since last July that he's learning English or certainly speaking in English speaking countries. He's come a long way, but it's nice to have somebody like Varlamov who does speak his language, so he doesn't be all over the place. I think that is really overlooked. And here you go. I'm going to say something nice about Lou now. That was a really good move.
Shit. For everybody that has, the grumpy old man with a positive outlook bingo board, you can brush that off. I know you haven't had to use it, or maybe you've had it, but you haven't placed any actual pieces down since the 1980s. But you could definitely sure as hell fill out almost an entire board with tonight's performance.
But those are things I've said about Lamoriello before, though. That's why he signed Varlamov. I thought the term was too long and the money was too much. No one was offering him that. But it helped get Sorokin here. I've always said, now here's the thing. That's an overpay from an older veteran, which is a dumb thing to do, Lou.
We always knew that he had to overpay in order to get. I mean, it was always part of the plan to get Sorokin over here was to overpay to get Varlamov here. And you mentioned a point about him speaking Russian being his native tongue there, and Sorokin also, or Varlamov also having the same exact background there. People forget. I think that's a good point. People do forget. I mean, goalies are going to spend more times in meeting rooms with their fellow goalies, just like defensemen are going to spend more time in meeting rooms there in a defensive focus, just like forwards are going to spend time in meeting rooms specifically dedicated to the forwards at times, when you're not in just like a group meeting. So again, like he spends more time with Sorokin spends more time with Varlamov than anybody else on the team.
Yeah, really, and it's really underappreciated. I mean, Varlamov's been good. I don't think he's had stretches where he's played really well, but to me, it's the system more than anything else. But what he brings off the ice is just as beneficial when dealing with Sorokin than what he brings on the ice, I feel.
We got a comment here from Frank K saying, is Sorokin more talented than Danny Lorenz or Tom Draper?
He's even better than Mike the Greek Melaniadis and Sammy Matadats. I mean, he's way better than those guys too.
Matt S. is saying the reference sites need to improve their websites. That's all I'm saying. That's all the point I was trying to get across there, Grump.
Well, here's the thing. I like that website because I don't look at the guys' faces at all. I could care less what they look like. But I love their numbers. I think they do a really good job at that. That's my go-to page for everything, for stats-wise.
David C. is saying, TJ, when is the Grumpy Old Man hoodie available for purchase? I'm still working on it. I'm coming up with the design. I want to make sure it's a cool design too. So the design process is going to take me a bit. The edit won't take me too long.
I want that trademarked for me, the Grumpy Old Man. I don't want somebody else using my image to profit. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know what? I'm going to come out there. I think that the design is going to be so sleek that it's going to beat anything out there, Grumpy Old Man merch in the market. How about that?
And it's got to have like those old, like the old Corvettes with the big front wheel guard. Like, yeah, that's what I want. Something cool like that, like Hot Wheels. Something really flashy.
Well, yeah.
Grumpy old man.
We'll have to talk about what design-wise we want, though. I've got one design already completed, working on a few more, got a few ideas. We're working on it, though. The toughest thing is I couldn't actually get it uploaded to the website. So I got to figure out, I've got to contact the people back office-wise to actually get everything to save over. Because, like, I could do the edits. I'm struggling on a technical aspect, which is, I know, a shock there. It takes me a while to get everything technically sound.
Does it have me with a smile? Or with this kind of like,
I wasn't going to have a picture of you.
Oh, see me, that's the selling point. That would sell. I'm going to tell you right now. They would be, anyone who gets that sweatshirt or that T-shirt would be the envy of all their friends. Like, who is that grumpy old man? I got to get myself one of those. That's what they would say.
Oh, goodness. Brian P. is saying, I'm convinced Trotz is punishing Barzal. Oh, goodness.
He has punished him in the past. Absolutely he has. I don't think he did on Monday, though. I just haven't seen him play. Like I said, he looked disinterested. And I'm like, why? I had to ask why. Why is he like that? Because he's never been like that. He's always 100 miles an hour all the time. But he just didn't look like he had it. Maybe he just had a bad game. But I just felt it was fair, since the grumpy old man is always truthful and always fair, that even when one of my favorites has a bad game, I got to call him out for it.
Good. I'm glad. And again, I like it being fair and impartial. Bruce K is also saying here, Trotz continues to put Leo in the lineup regardless on what line he's on, but the Islanders keep winning, and the Leo haters keep crying.
Okay, I say they win in spite of Leo Komarov. Certainly when he's on the first line, it's like, well, right. Well, maybe that's why they only played, 11 minutes through 2 periods, was because, well, Leo's on that line. We're not going to play him.
Goodness gracious. And Alexander, right after that, says, Leo's comments after the postgame had me rolling when he said, oh, I'm just out there staying out of the way, LOL, because you're worthless. Oh, God.
Well, I mean, really, is that what you want? A first-line player to say, well, I just want to stay out of their way. Let them do their thing. I'll just hang around the defensive zone and say, go, guys. I mean, all right. Like I said, he is what he is. He was a really good player 5 years ago for his role, which was third line with Toronto. He was really good in that role. Just, Father Time is undefeated, and it's beating him with the ugly stick.
Brad Crawford, another YouTube comment about the expansion rules. From what I read, the Islanders can protect Varlamov, Sorokin is exempt, and they have to expose a goalie. I don't think Schneider counts because he hasn't played enough games.
They can protect one goalie, and Sorokin's exempt. Anybody else is available throughout their organization.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So again, if they don't have anybody that they can make exempt or available there for the selection in the expansion draft, then that's just how it is. So again,
but Snyder has been on the roster. He just hasn't played a game.
He hasn't played enough games to actually be eligible there for the expansion draft. Gotcha here. David C. also saying tweet of the game was from Staple. Said Barzal isn't used to playing with a winger who it was not included. I'm sorry about that. The Wicked 50 Cal says, thank you, Grump. I'm sorry my comment was subpar as compared to my other ones. Oh, yeah, Grump, okay. Now you've got them all in his feelings, Grump. Look what you've done.
First of all, hey, I gave him a compliment because I like to read his stuff. I like the actor that he's got there. He was a character actor for many, many years. I've seen him in numerous shows. And if you heard the voice, you'd know who I was talking about. But usually he's got really good stuff that just, hey, let me tell you something. It's tough to come up with a nickname on the fly. It really is. It has to be organic. But the worst one was what was the Sorokin wall? I don't know, whatever TJ called. Look,
I said the Russian wall.
The Russian wall. Forget it. That was the worst of all.
Oh, goodness gracious. Thank you. Robin Stewart is saying here, no respect for Islanders rookies in the Calder race.
Well, I don't think that Sorokin is I don't think he's going to play enough games to get serious consideration, considering he's the backup. So he's not going to be in the running to win it. And the kid from Minnesota has just been off the chain. He gets more fantastic every single game, too. He's a real goal scorer.
Kirill Kaprizov is his name there.
Yeah, good. He was in the same situation last offseason that Sorokin was in, where they wanted to get that first year contract out of the way so that they could renegotiate after this year, just like Sorokin did. That's why he's a restricted free agent. The same as with what's his name again? KK. I'll just call him KK. Kirill
Kaprizov.
Yeah. Okay.
The funny thing, I'll be honest with you, I like the retro jerseys for Minnesota. And again, like you talk about, I mean, Kaprizov has to be exciting to watch a young man like that tearing it up there for the Wild. And in a jersey like that, ooh, I like the neon green like that. Almost reminds me a little like the Minnesota Stars.
That's the Minnesota North Stars jersey.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. The orange, the yellow is a little bit different. It used to be more yellow, but I'm a sucker for a logo. I love their regular logo and uniforms. But look at the Kings their third uniforms. My gosh, back to the olden days. I just love those uniforms. I love the colors. I love that. And then we got the Islanders. What do we have left over in the back drawer over there? Throw that out there for our retro jersey.
Oh, goodness gracious. Speaking of the Kings, you saw that Kaliev continuing there off to a hot start. Now 19 games, 14 points, 7 goals, 7 assists there. Again, they've seemed to have turned it up there for the Ontario region.
Hold on. Is Kaliev in the NHL still?
No. He isn't. No, he's in AHL. He's playing on the same line as Turcotte there for the Los Angeles Kings there, or AHL affiliate.
How many goals does he have? Do you know? Okay.
7 goals, 7 assists in 19 games.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good considering how slow he was starting off. First year as a pro, that's pretty good. What about Conor Mcmichael? How's he doing for the Hershey team?
I don't have the numbers pulled exactly up. I'll pull them and I'll give you an update here.
Yeah,
Robert Stewart also says, sounds like Grumpy puts the player ahead of the team. Barzal example.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sorry, Robin. Now, that's a cute little baby. I don't know if that's your baby. If it is, congrats.
No, that's a meme. That's a meme.
Oh, what does it say?
Do you know what memes are, Grump?
Yeah, I know what they are, but I can't read it. It says something teacher, boy teacher, or something. Oi, teacher. I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I had to ask if you knew what memes were because you didn't know what OnlyFans were today. So I just wanted to make sure you knew what memes
that's
were.
Like the memes are like something like where, I don't know. It's like they have like a little picture and then some words or something, right?
To give you, yeah, essentially. To give you an update there, Phil Tomasino, 11 games, 5 goals, 6 assists there, 11 points. You asked about Conor McMichael. Conor McMichael, 14 games, 6 goals, 3 assists, so only 9 points for Conor McMichael.
How's my boy Casper doing? How's he doing? And what's Casper's plus minus? I'm interested in that.
10 games, 10 games. Oh, okay. He's playing for the Bridgeport Sign Tigers. Come on, Grum.
I'm just interested to see how he's doing. That's all. How's he
just doing? Interested. Come on now. Simon Holmstrom, 10 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 total points there, -8.
Yeah, okay. There you go. That was a wise pick. Good job, Lou.
Stop.
Great job.
Oh, good. Oh, it's funny. As soon as we start mentioning that, David C. mentions about the 3 amigos and the Pigment Challenge Casper. Oh, goodness.
It's true. I mean, you had an opportunity to draft someone who could bring some offense to the team that really needs offense, but we pick a Josh Bailey play-alike. You know, I haven't even ripped Josh Bailey today. Did you notice that?
Good. We didn't even need to have a conversation about Josh. Anyway, moving right along there. Alexander's saying, speaking of John Tavares, he's not having a good season. He's getting ripped by guys like Don Cherry. I'll tell you, yeah, he's getting ripped amongst the press. I mean, the Toronto press is way more fierce than any type of press that's out there. I mean, obviously regarding hockey. But yeah, he's getting ripped, not having a great stellar season.
Okay. I was not upset, and TJ was upset when John Tavares left. Go ahead, Sanders Lee over Patrick Kane. Don't even say it. You know you were butthurt when he left.
Listen, Linda.
Chris, and then I'll let you go on your little rants and raves.
Come on, bring it. Come on.
Here's the thing. We all knew that contract was not going to be worth it at the end of the day because just of when he signed, the way he plays, he's never been a great skater. He's just like, as a matter of fact, he's better than Anders Lee, but the same type of contract where you give a guy ridiculous sums of money for a guy who's not going to age well with the playing style that they have. So this is not a surprise to me. I am surprised at this soon. I figured he'd be good probably till he was maybe 32 or 33, but it's happened when he's 31. But if you look at it, that's when guys start to go off the cliff in hockey is when they're 31 or 32 years old.
let me go ahead and answer you exactly what my thought was on all of this.
Okay?
Okay?
I love Johnny. I love him. Don't go, Johnny.
You listen to me. You listen to me good here, Grump. All I'm going to say is this. I was upset that we lost him for nothing. That's what I was upset most about. I didn't give two shits. Obviously, I want him on the team. Everybody at the time period wanted him on the team. You would have been crazy to say, no, I don't want John Tavares. Let him walk. Everybody wanted John Tavares back on the team. Everybody wanted that because we had a legitimate coach and a legitimate general manager there stepping in the role. Here's my thing. I was upset that we lost him. We could have dealt him at the trade deadline if he was just honest and forthright about his lifelong intentions on going back to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We did not get any draft capital back in return. You trade him at the deadline. You traded him at the trade deadline. You're looking at least 2 first-round picks, bare minimum, that we lost out on because that piece of shit wouldn't tell us what actually his intentions were and kept it concealed. Okay? That's the issue I have with John Tavares. You're right. He's not playing well. Guess what? Players who can't skate, they tend to decline a little quicker too. So again, like we knew that contract was hideous as soon as it was signed there by him. I wasn't upset after the contract was signed, and that is going to be one that Toronto is going to be gritting their teeth on towards the end of that contract. That is for sure. Again, you want to talk about taking a gamble. Man, oh man, they took an all-out gamble by bringing in John Tavares.
Well, first of all, this is a family program, so with the language there, young man, don't do that. And here's the thing. I didn't care that he left. He earned it. That was a Garth Snow blunder. They should have moved him when he wouldn't re-sign the year before and kept on putting it off and putting it off. He should have moved him. Oh, well, he didn't want to get moved. Too bad. I mean, then sign the contract. We're offering you a boatload of money and you don't want to resign. I'm sorry. The team wasn't good enough to get nothing for you in return. I mean, that was a really a bad mistake by Garth Snow. I mean, it is what it is. But if Lou was making those draft picks, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. We just would have had more Kaspers or Lundkrantz in the minors because they wouldn't have been on the team.
Gotcha here, Grump. Moving right along. Robin says, hey, Grumpy, I'm excited about the W column. I was just only excited about the wins.
That's all that matters.
Alexander is saying here also, Wallstrom could be a 40-goal scorer. I'm just saying a safe assumption is to assume that right wing is going to be, that young man's going to be putting up 30 goals year in and year out. I mean, that's a safe assumption. Even when he has down years, I think he fall out of the boat and still probably come close, if not hit 30 goals year in and year out.
Yeah, we don't see too many 40-goal scorers, and certainly not guys who play in the Islander system because it's just not conducive to scoring. And it also depends on who he plays with as well. But the kid has natural ability.
Angelo is saying, don't get the ragging on Nelson. He is our leading goal scorer, and he has been the most consistent in the past couple of years. Again, like he's benefited the most from Barry Trotz for certain. And again, he's bounced back. The first half of the season was hideous. The first 10 or 12 games were really bad for Brock. He's played well well since then, though, Grump.
Yeah, I'm going to say he certainly hasn't played. And as I've said on Angelo, man, I don't even think I even picked on Nelson today. But he deserves it when I do pick on him. I don't think he's had a good year. I think the second line has been bad, 5-5 all year. Most of his points, the vast majority, have come on the power play. And he is the player who is, without a doubt, benefited the most from Barry Trotz. But I still don't think – I think he's a serviceable second-line center. But I don't think – I think they need to be – that line needs to be more productive. It just does, which leads me to AJ and Shannon, once again, pushing the intelligence angle when talking about that second line. Well, you know something? What it tells me is that they're not producing. When you're pushing some agenda, that just be honest. Just say, you know what? Even though they're serving their role as playing a defensive game to a fair extent for the most part, they're not putting up points. Don't try to sell me that they're smarter than everybody else because they're not. They're not producing. You're just trying to take away from what's actually happening is that they don't score 5-on-5. And that's the truth. That's the truth.
We have I had to take a quick stop. Now, this man, Frank Castle here, he sends me, he said he's always wanted to send a comment in there through the podcast, but never is on time there for the live stream. I didn't want to forget about it. He says, if Sorokin continues his lights out performance, do you guys think Trotz will give him the nod in the playoffs, or do we go with good old reliable Varlamov? Would he ride the hot hand even if that's Sorokin in the playoffs? Also, cool to hear Grumpy is an old school wrestling fan. On a recent episode, Grumpy said the phrase "pronouns, pal."
That's
Does
right.
that mean Grump is a fan of a certain wrestling podcast?
Something to wrestle with. Bruce Pritchard, absolutely. That's a real. If you're into wrestling, and old school wrestling, which I certainly am, the new stuff is garbage. But Bruce Pritchard worked in creative for the WWF starting in 1987. He was one of Vince McMahon's right-hand men, and they have a really good It's a really good, really entertaining, really good podcast. If you're into old-time wrestling, he's really good at it.
Do you think, though, I want to get back to the question. Do you think if Sorokin's the hot hand, does he ride him going into the playoffs? Does he go with good old reliable Varlamov?
He's going to go with Varlamov. Absolutely. I would ride the hot hand. And here's the thing. The upside with Sorokin is greater than Varlamov, but you want to see that from Sorokin night in, night out. I mean, we still have, 20 some odd games to go till the playoffs? And
just about 20.
And I believe we will make them. I don't see us taking a catastrophic slide here. I think we will make it. I just don't want to play Washington in the first round. To me, that's worst case scenario for us. Washington they're a team that's going to give us trouble. So I don't want to play them in the first round. But I think that we'll go with Varlamov, certainly to start. And if he has a bad game, you might bring Sorokin in. But you got to remember, Barry's all about the veterans. Right? I mean, he just is. Young guys they have to be so much better before they get a shot. Where I'd rather go with the young guys and live through the growing pains just for the upside.
Gotcha. Robin Stewart. Now, they got a few comments here that I know he's got a few comments here, or he or she has a few comments here in a row that I think that you're going to like here, Grump. He says, so Grumpy is saying if Barzal goes on the COVID list, we start losing. And then Robin also says Barzal is lower in importance than about five of our other players on our team. Don't get me wrong. I like having them. Holy shit. Grump, I'll let you take it there first. Matt Barzal underneath five other players on this team.
He's the most important offensive player this team has. Nobody else is even close. Not even close. Here's the thing. He has recency bias, so he's got to be young. I'm going to say Robin's probably young.
I don't know. That's a meme as a profile picture. Maybe we're talking about like middle-aged or older. I don't know.
No, I got to say he's got to be younger because Matt Barzal, the team goes as Matt Barzal goes. When Matt Barzal is on his game, we win games easily. When he's not, we struggle. Every game's a slog. That's what he brings to the table. And I don't know what five players he's talking about. Probably he's going to say, I just hope he doesn't say Bailey.
I'm sure he's going to say whoever's in net that night, Nick Leddy. I'm sure they're going to say players like Brock Nelson, Anders Lee. I promise you those are going to be the players there.
Here's why I predict his five are going to be better than Average Anders, Brock Nelson, the king of the secondary assist, Thomas Hickey, and Leo Komarov.
Stop.
Those are his five that are better than Matt Barzal. So those are the five guys I think are just the worst.
Bush is saying Forsberg doesn't fit into the Trot system. Little head or face palm.
I disagree. He comes back and he comes back and plays defense. He absolutely does. I think he'd be great for that first line. We'll just agree to disagree, Brush.
Robin also saying there, Komarov creates havoc in front of the net. That's where you score 5-on-5.
Yeah, but it's in front of his own net. That's what he does. He stands in front of our own goalie and blocks him.
Alexander then chimes in saying, Garth Snow's drafts were not horrible. That's true. Garth Snow really got a few gems through the draft later too in the draft. He had screwed up so many drafts and been miserable through so many drafts. But it seems like right after he gets the boot, all these players he had recently selected start coming to fruition, and you see what they really have.
Well, that's what good coaching will do for you. But that said, he was picking the top five every year. His draft should have been better. And still he might have picked Michael Del Cole, Nito Niederreiter, Nielsen. I mean, there were a lot of guys who were just not very good. Calvin DeHaan. I mean, these are guys that he drafted that were just, they're average to below average players, and you're picking the top five. DeHaan was later, of course. But, I mean, he traded up 5 times, in essence, to get Calvin DeHaan. It's like, don't fall in love with guys like that. I mean,
It's funny. We had so many comments that just rolled through that I lost some of the comments there because we had so many that rolled through. So I apologize if I didn't get a few of the comments out there in the middle. We got a few comments here. Tommy Baffy saying, hello, TJ and grumpy old man. Smile, we're in first place. I will say Grump's been extremely a pleasant demeanor. It's been odd. It's been unique.
Here's the thing. Even though we didn't play, I mean, our face-off percentage was terrible. 17 out of 48 we only won. AJ was back with her hair. The Flyers dominated the first period. The fourth line was bad again. Having to listen to Butch saying that Komarov is a stabilizing influence. Having to listen to the announcers say that Lee brought out the best in Matt Barzal. We won the game and beat the dreaded Flyers. So I'm able to gloss over all that ridiculousness and all the pushing up the flowers. Everything's great with the world. I was able to push that out, push that aside because we beat the Flyers.
I like it. Tommy B is also saying the league also hates the Islanders because they've been losing $20 million a year. That changes at UBS.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's why they hate us or not. But here's the thing. They certainly consider us second-class citizens. And
to the Rangers.
To the Rangers, without a doubt. The Rangers are the marquee team in this market. But I hate it when we do that ourselves, or you hear the media say, well, gosh, the Islanders are, they're a small market team. No, they're not a small market team. They play in frickin' New York. They're not a small market team. I mean, they've just been mismanaged for so many years. That's what the issue is. It's not that we're a small market team.
Gotcha. And then the wicked 50 Cal saying, although if you're going to call a close game, talking about the referees, it better stay that way unless there's something completely irresponsible or egregious. I agree.
I like that he used the word egregious once again. See, he already stumbled a little bit early in the podcast with the comment about, the nickname, but here he is redeeming himself. I like it. Good job.
And Brian P saying Wallstrom has a top 5 release in the NHL.
I don't know if it's top 5, but it's pretty darn good. That's all I know.
David asking here, why not put Oliver Wallstrom on first line?
Because he's playing really well on the third line, and I don't think Barry trusts him to play big minutes. I would love to see that line get more minutes. Here's the thing. Pajot gets his minutes, but he limits the minutes of Wallstrom. And I don't know why. Maybe he doesn't fully trust him, but I think the kid's earned that trust, and he should be playing more minutes. When he's out there, we have a chance to score.
I look at it like this. I love that third line. That third line is the best. Shit. When we get Don Cherry over here saying that's the best third line in all of hockey, because I really do honestly believe Jean-Gabriel Pageau, Oliver Wallstrom, and Anthony Beauvillier is the best third line in all of hockey. I think it's bar none, not even close to a second.
That's why the fourth line is not the best line in hockey anymore, best fourth line in hockey, but the third line is really, really good. And I'm going to tell you what. Here we go. I'm going to make another one of these statements. In the grand scheme of things, Anthony Beauvillier is a third line player. I don't think he's a top line player. I don't think he's a second line player. He's too streaky. But I think he's an absolutely spectacular third line player. I often say Josh Bailey's a third line player. Not as good as Anthony Beauvillier. Certainly not going to give you as much as he can give you. But his style is a perfect match for that line. And I just think they deserve more minutes.
Gotcha. I do. I think that line needs to be played more in 5-on-5 situations because, again, like Jean-Gabriel Pageau gets occasionally double shifted. He gets his minutes. I want to see Oliver Wallstrom and Beauvillier also getting their minutes as well. They've shown me that is an unbelievably talented third line. The Wicked 50 Cal also said there are other things to find wrong with the refs, but what Tim Peel did is no shock to me. That stuff always happens. Always happened. Spot on. Mm-hmm. Gotcha there. And we got David C saying, TJ, we need a t-shirt with a side-by-side AJ's hair and Frank K's hair. Name on the shirt says night and day. We're not going to use an image of AJ or anything like that. We might say like having a bad hair day or something. Come on now. Come on, Grump. I'm not going to make a mean shirt like that about her. Come on.
It's called run a comb through it. That's all you have to just run a comb through it. You don't have that.
But I'm not going to say run a comb through it and put like a silhouette image of her and her on the shirt. That's not happening.
No, I'm not going to do that. Like one of those little mannequin wigs, mannequin heads, that, you see like, anywhere, and then just put like some type of wig with hair, AJ's hair on.
What a film saying, TJ, enough already about Kane. Just listen to the grumpy old man and zip it.
What a film's gotta love
it. Oh, goodness gracious. They're moving and chugging right along there. I don't think we will make any big trade. Players like Palmieri or anybody for that matter that will fetch a first rounder and a prospect, there'll be a team out there willing to give it up. I think Uncle Leo's plan is to use the first round pick to ship out Andrew Ladd. I think Lou's plan is to use the first round pick to ship out Andrew Ladd or Leo.
I certainly wouldn't trade a first round pick for Palmieri as a rental. I don't want to give up a whole lot for a rental. If you want to give up some of our guys at Bridgeport, a defenseman who you don't see a whole lot in moving forward, fine. But I mean, you don't want to give a first-round pick for a rental. I've never been a Palmieri fan, maybe just because he plays for the Devils. I don't know. But I've never been a fan of his. I know he scores some goals. But if you're going to give a first-round pick, you want to definitely dump salary. Ladd, Leo, Hickey, Bailey, Lee, all those guys. Throw them all out there with a first-round pick.
Tommy B said, yep, Dobson did have COVID. Brian P saying here, talking about Barry. Barry usually is bad with young forwards. Verana, Burkowski, Bellows, Hosang, and back in Nashville, it was Radulov, Kostitsyn, and others. That is the only attribute I don't like about Barry Trotz. Again, like he's done, you can argue there he's had success stories with other young forwards, though, as well, that have been able to break into the lineup. I think it is pretty difficult, though, to break the lineup because, Barry definitely is a veteran guy's coach. But again, he does a lot of things well.
I'd feel better if I felt the veterans that he were playing were as good as the young guys that he's shackling. That's the issue I have with him, is he's going to lean on the old guys because he just likes dependability and knows what he's going to get. But at some point, if you really want to grab that brass ring, you got to take a chance. It's like in the movie Tin Cup. Anybody remember the movie Tin Cup? TJ, remember the movie Tin Cup?
I've seen it, and you mention it more. You've mentioned it on more than one podcast.
I don't think I have. So
I can't trust you have.
But you had Kevin Costner, who played Tin Cup, and his rival, who was Don Johnson of Miami Vice fame, the TV show. He played David, whoever is who he played. And the move was to win. To win, you had to go for it. And he wouldn't do it. And he said, that's why you're always in second place. And that's what I feel about Barry Trotz. That's why he's always in second place. He got lucky the one year with Washington, but that's why we're always in second place. Because to really win, you're going to have to extend yourself and put out a little bit more than you do. And I don't think that he's comfortable doing that.
Tommy Baffy saying here, 21-8-4 with 3 big road games ahead. 3 points would be reasonable.
Oh, I'm going to say we got to come away with at least 4 points out of those 3 games. Boston's a shambles right now. Hopefully we play tomorrow. Pittsburgh has been playing better, but I want to come away with 4 points.
Look at you. Look at you, Grump.
Do you never notice my predictions are always super positive?
Very bullish. Yes.
I know.
We have the Bruins there as long as we're able to play there tomorrow. Then we have the Penguins on Saturday and then on Monday. Okay, fair enough. Gotcha. We are chugga-lugging along here. This is one I'm throwing up for you, Grump, because it's a Honeymooners reference. It says that Dobson's had arterial
monochromia. A great television, really all-time great television program, The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason and Art Carney and Jane Meadows, and I forget the other one, whoever. But fantastic. And you think about, they did that whole show really out of a one-room apartment, just one room. I mean, I know they eventually they went to the pool hall one time, or to a boxing club once, or to a roller skating rink, but for the most part, everything was just in that one room apartment, and it was just tremendous comedy. And Jackie Gleason was the greatest, without a doubt.
Got a comment here from Tommy Baffy. Long-term injury players cannot be chosen And the expansion draft that protects another player, which is good here.
Oh, that means they can protect average Anders. They don't even have to protect them, which is good because that's not a guy I'd want to protect anyway. So, I mean, that's the direction I'm going. Now, I don't know where TJ went. He probably had too much to drink, so he had to take a little trip to the bathroom. But that's okay, because maybe now I'll go through who I don't want to protect in the expansion draft. Josh Bailey, Nick Leddy. I mean, I know we're only going to go 3 defensemen. I don't know which 3 we're going to protect, honestly, but certainly Pulak and Pellick. And I got to think we don't need to protect Dobson. So I would, even though he's not had a great year, I would probably protect Mayfield over Leddy. I'd want to get some salary off of there. I mean, Leddy's had how many down years in a row? And now, all of a sudden, he had a good year this year, which is great. I mean, good for us. He's playing best that he has in years. But if that's the way that, we're going to go and we want to free up some salary cap, if I was the Islanders, that's what I would do. Because if I'm the Kraken, I know that who wouldn't jump at a guy who's a top 4 defenseman on a defensive-oriented team who makes $1.45 million? I mean, those are the type of things that I would do. I'd love to go through some of these comments. I don't know where TJ was, but you know what? Let's have some fun because I know he hates it when I have fun here, but I'm just going to do it anyway. And I don't know what TJ was looking at, how far he did. Hey, Brian Posser, he said, "Nice layup, David." That's right, from Tin Cup. Fantastic. And then
hold on, Grump. Are you back to reading comments again?
Yeah, I saw one that said Brian Posser brought up, "Nice layup, David," from Tin Cup. And then Cheech from Cheech and Chong. That's what he said. And that's why he'll always be second place. Joyce Randolph. That was the other one. That's right.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And Joyce Randolph.
Brian J says, "Where is everyone from, TJ and Grumpy? I am from the central zone, and I guess I'm from the central time zone. Grump is on the East Coast."
Maybe where we're from, where you're born, maybe.
Grump?
I was born in New York, Rockville Center, I think.
I was born in North Carolina. Gosh. Scott L is saying there, DeCrapo is an AHL player at best.
I mean, like I said, I don't like to get on him too much because, I mean, he is what he is. I mean, and to expect him to be better, to put him on the second line, it's like, why?
Hold on. I think Jerry may have just come in.
No.
Don't worry. Just keep talking. Grump. I gotta go ahead and write this down. There's no way for me to copy it right now.
I have a feeling that Jerry is going to make TJ's day and show the Thomas Hickey hit on Zdeno Chara. I think Chara was leaning down. Maybe he scored 2 or 3 goals. He was tired. The whistle was blown. And Hickey, I think, just kind of stumbled over his own feet, fell, and took out Chara's knee and knocked him down. I do remember that play. But it's just so laughable because it's so not who Thomas Hickey is. I remember so many games when he was absolutely Wayne Simmons' bitch down low. And I'm just not a Hickey guy, not the person, but just as a player. I mean, a guy who you pick up on waivers because he couldn't hack it anywhere he'd been. Former number 4 overall pick with the Kings. And all of a sudden he's a star defenseman for us. I'm like, man, that just shows how bad we were back in the day. And I'm so glad that he's where he belongs, which is as a 7th defenseman. I always said, if Thomas Hickey's in your lineup, your team's not very good. And that's been the case because he's not been a starter for us since Barry's been there. And that's the way I like it.
Grump, you don't have to continue. Keep on going. I'm just writing down. I've got an ear-to-ear smile on my face right now because I was hoping I'd be able to pull this hit for us. I've always talked about it, and I've talked about this hit on different podcasts before we even had the live stream scenario. I've never actually pulled a hit up to show you, though. And I know it was always one of those things where it's like after the podcast, we talked about so many different things I've always forgotten to tell you. But I think we're in for a treat here. We might be able to pull this up. We're going to be able to pull this up and show it there for everybody there on the live stream. I'm excited about that.
Okay, that's fine. You know what else you're not able to pull up because it never existed? Where you told the story where Anders Lee, under some slim scenario was better than Patrick Kane.
Oh my God! And we're still going on. I'm going to drop it. You keep bringing it up. You know what? Here you go. Work on this here, Grump. Ed's saying. So, what can we expect there from the trade deadline?
I don't think we're going to go defenseman. I thought maybe initially we might, but since Hickey has been, serviceable, they're not going to worry about that, especially when Dobson comes back. So I guess we're probably going to go for a winger. Me, like I said again, let's push the chips to the center. Let's get Forsberg. But I don't think we're going to do that. I think probably
he's going to be way too much. Come on, let's be realistic.
Well, you know what? Once again, it's do you really want to win? Do you want to win? Do you want to contend for a Stanley Cup, or you just want to say, okay, hey, we'll pick up some rental, we'll win a round, maybe 2 rounds in the playoffs, and then we'll go home for the summer? I mean, if you're happy with that, that's probably what we're going to do. I'm not. I'd much rather say, hey, let's go for the gusto. That's what I'm saying. Let's try to compete for a few years. Let's try to get younger. Let's try to get better. That's what I'm all about.
Oh my goodness, I have the clip. Grump, I have the clip. Jerry Springer, after that very nice comment about the receding hairline, I do appreciate that, Jerry, has come back and made everything all better. I want you to take a look at this, Grump. This is painting. Oh, don't worry. I want to paint the picture back in yesteryear. I had to make sure to turn off the volume because if we even play like 10-second clip of anything that like ESPN owns the rights to, they automatically flag everything we post there on YouTube. So I had to go ahead and cut the volume beforehand. But here it is, Grump. This is it. Here's the hit. He's going down there.
There it is.
Go! Look at that hit, Grump. He takes Chara off of his skates. Can you believe that? Oh, man, I need to go back. I need to go back and rewatch that one.
Okay, what you didn't see happen was that he was too busy all the way down there thinking he's a winger. They gave up a goal the other end because he was out of position. That's Thomas Hickey for you.
Oh, gosh. Did you see that hit? Completely leveled Zdeno Chara. Holy crap. Again, he may have his back turned to him. Not many people knock over Zdeno Chara, though, Grump. Go ahead. You can give Thomas Hickey the respect he deserves. But that was back during yesteryear time periods. I've always talked about that. I'm so happy now we got to actually show you that there. I get to see that grin on your face. Nothing makes me happier.
That should be your standalone clip for Thomas Hickey. Anytime his name comes up, just show it.
I'll tell you, that's one he'll show to his kids. I knocked down the biggest player to ever play hockey, the biggest, baddest, toughest player to ever play hockey. Boom, right here.
Body check of his whole career.
Brian P. saying Bobby Clark is the one I hated the most.
Yep. No tooth. Oh, man, I hated him.
And then Matthew S. is saying that allows us to protect Bellows without worrying about any remaining teams he has left. No?
I mean,
any games he has left? No? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean that's what I say. I mean, if you don't have to protect Anders, here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see him protect somebody like Josh Bailey and leave Bellows unprotected. Bellows has
They're going to protect Josh Bailey. I really honestly believe that.
No.
And
3 goals, 4 goals. What you got? 3. He plays on the second line, plays on a power play, plays 19 minutes a game, and he's got 4 goals all year. And one of the goalie practically put it in the net himself. Sorry. If you want to get rid of some salary, dump some salary, you expose a guy like that. And he might actually be appealing to a team like the Kraken because, he is, he's not really a leader, but he's a solid citizen. That's the word I would use for Josh Bailey. Solid citizen. Doesn't do anything great. He's going to show up every night. Not going to produce. He might actually be first line for them for an expansion team. How about that? When Josh Bailey's a first line, remember those Jeff Foxworthy? You might be a redneck if you might be a bad hockey player if Josh Bailey's a first line player, or for that instance, Leo Komarov is a first line player.
Greg Frost coming back here. He's saying, "Hey, Grumpy, you're pretty smart. Why aren't you coaching a team?" LOL. Sarcasm.
First of all, I am smart. Thank you very much, Greg. I like Greg's hat. I'm going to say Greg is probably follically challenged just like us, TJ.
Hey, we are accepting applications in the Follically Challenge Club,
absolutely.
And our arms are wide open.
Yeah, and he's a little bit older. I could tell by the color of his mustache and beard. I tried to grow a mustache. Well, tried. I can grow a mustache and beard, but the color is so bad now that it's like, no, it had to go.
Brian J saying, shave it, TJ. Holy shit. I guess it's time to go ahead and just nair my head. Fair enough. All of it gone.
I think your fiance wants you to have some hair for the wedding.
She does want me to have some hair, but I gotta let everybody know. Everybody on the live stream, everybody on the podcast is saying it's time to shave it. I guess it's time I just go ahead and just destroy the hair. I don't know.
Maybe you could get like some of that little spray hair. You know, you spray it on and it builds up.
Do I have to do that every single day before I go to work?
Well, just a couple of cans before the wedding should do you, all right?
A couple cans.
Anything, you know, it's pretty bad. How old are you? Oh, it doesn't matter.
Alexander, Jerry Springer with the burn. Oh, I was about to say the burn.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh gosh, no, Tommy. Tommy's saying I would like the AJ Wild hair look. It's sexy. Oh, fair enough.
It's wild. It is. It's just not TV hair. That's all. I mean, like I said,
Ross is saying, do you judge Butch's appearance? Yes, most certainly we do. Not appropriate. Butch looks like he's damn drunk or high all the time with the red eyes he's got going on. We give Butch trash all the time for mispronouncing names left and right, just like the cute grandpa you have that just doesn't like, come on now. But Butch has forgotten more hockey than we know. But man, oh man, you just wonder if it's the end of the line there for Butchie.
So is AJ too, for that matter. But here's the thing: Butch still.
You're talking about his forgotten more hockey than we know.
Yeah, for certain. I was never a pro hockey player. She was. Well, she played at a high level. So I mean, you know, they don't. You know, whatever. I mean, she played in the Olympics, so she's pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, Butch still has those ties that I think he had in the 1970s. I don't think he's updated his wardrobe ever.
Do I judge Butch's appearance? Yes, most certainly.
Yeah, matter of fact,
judge Butch for everything, and we think he does wrong too, like toting the company line like a shill and everything like that as well. We give Butch criticism too.
But that has his appearance. I mean, we were ripping his appearance. It looked like he was drunk a couple of weeks ago, or I thought he was sick. I mean, AJ doesn't look sick. It's just her hair looks messed up.
Oh, goodness. Brian now is saying somebody needs to tell Butch he needs to let it go and shave his head. Well, shit. Brian's over here just giving advice to shave heads left and right. Fair enough, Brian.
Butch is in his 70s now. I mean, it is what it is.
If I had that type of hair in the 70s,
and here's the thing. And, just something else to say to Ross. Regardless or not, you're going to have different women are held to different standards when it comes to being on TV personalities. They just are. They have to look better than the guys do. That's just the way it is. And so, you know what? Hey, I'm just holding to the same standards that the NHL does and every other team.
Goodness gracious. Moving and chug-a-lugging right along there. The Wicked 50 Cal says, not going to lie, though, I would rather listen to AJ a million times over than listen to Shannon ask terrible questions and offer no insight. One example of a terrible question was when she asked Ilya Sorokin and then it cuts off. Again, like AJ's very knowledgeable. We like AJ. It's not saying that we don't like AJ. We're just saying run a comb through the damn hair. That's all we're saying.
I missed AJ when she wasn't there. I thought maybe she left for greener pastures in the middle of the season.
We love anytime anybody who has different insight. We love Mark Parrish. We love AJ. Anybody who can comment that knows the game of hockey at a different level. We enjoy that insight.
Mark Parrish, when he was doing games for us a few years ago, was the best. He was way better than Butch, way better than AJ, way better than the both of them put together. He was fantastic. He's had alcohol issues. I think he's doing.
Yes, he has.
Was doing Minnesota games, but whenever I saw him, he was a spot guy. He was great, absolutely great.
Speaking about it again, like I actually tried to reach out there to Mark. I was like, "Hey, would be a cool guy to have on the podcast." I know he actually does his own podcast or works there with the podcast, and he's got like his own like line of alcoholic beverage, I think now or something like that. So if I had to assume that's no alcoholic beverage.
Oh, okay.
I think it was a type of liquor or spirits. I can't remember. This is a while ago now that I looked at this. Maybe I got to recheck back up. So I assume that still was live. Thank you, Wicked 50 Cali says, what was Ilya Sorokin's personality in net?
Yeah, well, she doesn't. I don't think Shannon.
I don't think she comes up with the questions. I think she said, "Hey, Shannon, ask these questions."
Well, Shannon's like, "What's your favorite color?" You know, stuff like that. How many pairs of underwear did you bring up to Washington?
She's the one with the bubbly personality that can break the ice and puts a smile on people's face.
Why wasn't Private Santiago packed the night before? Stuff like that.
You can't handle the truth, Crump.
That's right. Just in case anyone didn't get the, what you going to ask me next about? My phone bill?
Oh, goodness gracious. Alexander saying Sorokin and Varlamov.
That was a great movie.
Oh, for certain it was. And Brian J. there saying, I was questioning Lou Lamoriello when he let Leonard go. I was too. I thought, and again, ideally you always wanted Sorokin to come over there, but there was a year time period where we had just, it was Varlamov and Grice who did well and admirably last season. But I thought Leonard was really going to take the next step forward. He struggled mightily so far this year in Vegas.
It's a system. More than anything else, it's a system. But Sorokin has a chance, like Brodeur did when the Devils played the left wing lock or whatever the heck it was they played there, neutral zone trap for years and years. When you have a guy who's supremely talented, those are guys that can go to the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying Sorokin's go to the Hall of Fame, but when you have talent and you have a system that is predicated on cutting down on high leverage chances, those guys have a chance to be really, really good. And we have that shot with Sorokin.
Oh, goodness. Brian J. saying, make sure that receding hairline is perfect, Grump.
Hey, let me tell you something. It doesn't look like AJ's hair. You don't see it all over the damn place. I know my limitations. AJ shouldn't have realized hers. That's all.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't even blame her for that. Well, I do now that she's home. But when she was in studio, somebody should tell her. Shannon should tell her. Maybe there's a little bit of professional jealousy there. Shannon's like, I want AJ to look bad on TV. I don't want to show my hair to look silky and smooth. And AJ's going to look like rat's nest. And I'm not going to tell her.
Stop.
That's probably exactly what it is. Little cat fight.
Oh, God, stop.
Very possible.
Scott L is saying, hate to say this, guys, but when you do your live cast after the Islanders games, I can't tune in or comment because I have to work from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. I'd love to tune in and comment, but I need to make more money for the Grumpy Old Man merch.
Yeah. Hey, let me tell you something. It's going to be a hot sell. I can't wait to get it. I'm going to wear it. I'm going to wear it on every podcast.
Here's a question. Grump wants to know, or Tommy wants to know. TJ, if the Islanders win the cup, can we get Grumpy a scooter in the parade? I'll tell you this.
Watch it, Tommy.
If the Islanders win, I don't care what's going on. I'm finding a way. I don't care what's going on. Life-wise, I'm going to New York. I want to see it. If they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, I don't know what's going to look like if they're going to be playing New York. I would try to do anything. I would cut off I wouldn't cut off an appendage. Maybe I'm going a little hyperbolic. I would do anything I could to make it to one of those games. And if they had the parade, I'd be in New York, no doubt.
I'm going to tell you what, the grumpy old man's taking a field trip right now because the power is really low on his battery right now. So I'm going to walk everything over.
Well, how about this? You don't even have to worry about this. Look at this here, Grump. I'll take care of it. Go ahead and walk it over there, get everything set up, and I'll make sure I handle everything from here. Grumpy old man.
I'm going to be standing up the whole time because, hey, that's what I do. And I don't need a scooter to go to the parade. Absolutely not.
Sure you're going to be able to stand that long?
What, are you kidding me?
You're old now.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. I could walk that parade route with them, no problem.
Oh, goodness. Ross also says, check out the Brent Sunner interview from Spit and Chicklets podcast from last week. Great stories from the heyday. I definitely, I wouldn't mind at all. I do like listening to Spit and Chicklets every once in a while. So I definitely have to be on the lookout there. I'll have to make sure I go ahead and listen to that Brent Sutter there interview. The Islanders should replace the Fisherman logo with a picture of the grumpy old man, Tommy.
That should be our third jersey. Absolutely.
Oh, stop. Oh, my God. Oh, nobody wants to see that ugly mug, Grump.
Yeah.
There's only so much picture and photo editing I can do to make that mug look good.
I think my face should definitely be on it with not a smile, but a frown.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Reminds me when the Florida Panthers had Spacey in space shirts. They were the rage for the Florida Panthers a few years ago before his
allegations or before his did he I don't even know if I think he did it. I have no idea. I didn't keep up with it. I just know that he got in trouble there with abusing kids. Okay. abusing people or something like that. So, Spacey and Space. I do remember those way back in the day. Funny thing is, I actually bought a Spacey and Space shirt back when it was popular because it was a cool little trendy thing. Holy crap. That's one of those things where, you look back on it now, you're like, that has to go in the trash. They can't donate to Goodwill. You can't donate to Goodwill. You can never wear that around again. When you had a Spacey and Space shirt and everything came out with Kevin Spacey, just goes straight in the trash. Sorry, go ahead.
That take didn't age well, the Spacey in Space. It didn't age well.
No, it did not. It's a meme, too, where it's like he's smiling and he's got like the little Spacey little face on and he takes it down. It's actually him. So it's a little meme, too, there, Grump, or a GIF. The Wicked 50 Cal says, to be fair, I was never a fan of the Holmstrom pick. I wanted Kaliev, just like the grumpy old man.
Well, actually, I wanted Tomasino. He was my first choice. And then McMichael and Kaliev, maybe Kaliev even above McMichael. Just because he can score.
Tommy B. Oh, my gosh. The New York Islanders, Mount Rushmore, Bill Torrey, Al Harper, Barry Trotz, and the grumpy old.
Yes, I love Tommy.
No. Oh, goodness gracious. I know we talked about getting Tommy and other members there on the like a not podcast exclusive, just where it's like, hey, on the page, but just like getting a little Coach Tommy Baffy there on the show. So I know we're looking forward to that.
I don't even know what you're talking about right now. You're speaking a foreign language to me.
Goodness gracious. I'll talk to you after then. Oh, gosh. Mark saying here, give me Lee's leadership any day over PJ Boys.
100% agree.
Mm-hmm.
Tavares, way better player, but Lee, way better leader.
Ross is saying, preach, EJ. I'm not sure what I was preaching about, but maybe I got something right. That's good to hear. Bingo. Oh, maybe this was what I was talking about there with John Tavares. Brian P. saying, agree, TJ. I was pissed off. We got nothing for him. It's Snow's fault. As soon as he didn't put the pen to the paper, I would have traded him.
Right. And like I mentioned, he said he didn't want to be traded, and Garth Snow kissed his butt. He kissed his butt for, they wanted to negotiate. They were trying to renegotiate that or negotiate an extension for 2 years, and he kept putting it off and putting it off. I would have moved him. Certainly, when you got down to the deadline, move it.
I like this camera angle. This is so odd just looking at it like that with you, Grump. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, gosh, the lighting is shit, too. Anyway, Ross N. Get the popcorn ceiling, too. Oh, God gracious. Ross N. saying, Hickey or Aho?
I like Aho better than Hickey. But he's going to play Hickey over Aho. He just is.
I think they're relatively interchangeable for the most part. I think Aho probably has a better shot. I mean, man, oh man, that shot by Aho 3 days ago against the Flyers where he put that top shelf was beautiful.
If you want to engage your defense into the offense, Aho's your guy. Hickey might think he can play offense, but he can't. But Aho can. So if you just want to be –
I remember Hickey used to be a winger, right?
He plays defense like he's a freaking winger. That's my problem with him. It always has been.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious, grumpy old man. And there you go. Robin also chiming in. Different styles, Hickey and Aho. I trust Hickey, but Aho has higher offensive ceiling.
I don't – like I said, it's all going to be a moot point in, a few games. Dobson will be back, and they'll ride with Green.
Grump, who's your favorite wrestler from Alexander?
I've had a lot of favorite wrestlers over the years. My first favorite wrestler was Don Leo Jonathan. He was a bad guy. I always kind of gravitate to the older guys. I like Hulk Hogan, particularly when he was a bad guy.
You're a big fan of the Iron Sheik then, weren't you, Grump?
I didn't like the Iron Sheik.
Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik.
The boot camp matches were legendary. I remember the Sergeant Slaughter against Pat Patterson in the alley fight. Man, oh man! I tell you what, that Sergeant Slaughter could bleed like nobody's business. Man, oh man, he
did a good job of cutting himself with those little sharp edges they kept, right?
Well, yeah, they cut themselves with the blades, but Slaughter, he had a move when you throw him into the turnbuckle, he would go over the top and pretend like his head hit the top of the ring support, and then he'd come down, he'd cut it, and man, he, as Gorilla Monsoon would say, he was wearing the Crimson Mask. Gosh. But I was definitely a WWF guy as opposed to like NWA or stuff like that. So,
gotcha. Moving right along. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
the Rock, all those guys.
Moving right along here because we are wrapping things up over 2 hours and 15 minutes here today. Just want to make sure we get through all the comments here. Ed says, too much razzle and dazzle there from the second line. Shoot the puck. David C. saying, the identity line has looked like the geriatric line Monday night versus Philly. Here we go. We are
like 1 out of 4 games good.
Again, I'll tell you, Cizikas has earned himself a contract. I just have a feeling they're going to give him term with that contract too.
I see. That's another mistake. I mean, you want to see me lose my mind? Go do that. Go sign another guy over 30 to a long-term deal when you can't get young guys in the lineup. Michael Del Cole and Otto Koivula, he can fill that bottom line role. Why not? Give him a shot. Give him a shot.
Oh, goodness gracious, Crump. I'd say Cizikas does a lot more than Koivula can bring to the table. I don't think Koivula is a guy who can play more of the penalty kill. I have no idea how he is on the dot as well there in Bridgeport.
But 3/4 of the team plays penalty kill. I don't need it from Casey.
Fair enough there, Grump. We are moving right along here. We're going to be doing rapid fire. Tommy B is saying, how do you feel about Frank Kaplan there? Night at the Coliseum, all fans get to wear black long hair when we sing "Oh Sherry" in the crowd after the anthem.
Little Steve Perry Journey reference. I like it. You know who Steve Perry is?
No.
He was the lead singer for Journey. Oh, Sherry.
I was about to say, anything I get to go ahead and fill up this receding hairline, I guess, is A-okay for me after I go ahead and shave it.
It's scuffy. Little spray.
Tom B saying Forsberg is not even available via trade.
I can dream.
God gracious. And Brian J saying he's not a third liner. That's the problem. He's a first liner. I think Wallstrom definitely does have the potential to be a first liner, but I mean, I think that third line needs more minutes, but they're better than most second lines out there. Best third line in all hockey.
The whole thing, that line has really good chemistry right now. You don't want to break that up. I mean, the other lines are nothing right now. And, you might as well just put a Broom out there instead of Komarov on the first line. Or just play a man short.
Got another comment here from Brian P. saying, just like the Mets under the Wilpons, they act like they're a small market team. Now these owners have monster pockets.
He's 100% right. The Mets they always consider some small market teams. They're not. They play New York City. They got the Sports Channel New York deal. I mean, I laugh at that. Oh, first of all these guys have money. They just don't want to spend it.
Absolutely. Ross saying she has more hockey experience you do. Drop the theme. I don't know. It's yeah, she certainly does. Again, it's a little funny little portion though. Hey, it is what it is. We make fun of Butchie butchering every single words. So we're moving right along.
You never hear us pick on Brendan because he looks good every night.
We've met all of them in real life.
He looks good in real life. Brendan, let me tell you something. When he's on those, he is impeccably dressed. His hair is coiffed perfectly.
You want to know what I did notice? You want to know what I noticed about Brendan though? He was wearing some shoes that almost had lifts in them when I met him. His shoes, you look at I'm a taller guy, so I'm looking down on everybody most times. But I noticed Brennan's shoes when I met him before. He had certain shoes have extra support on them. He was wearing shoes that had ridiculous amount of support on them. I did notice that though about Brendan. I thought that was kind of funny, looking at it in retrospect.
Great. I thought his shoes looked great. He knows how to dress. He knows how to show up on a hockey broadcast, without a doubt. I expect big things from him.
Do you think? Oh goodness gracious. Oh goodness gracious. Oh God Almighty. Crump, do you think when that X-rated YouTube comment from last show was AJ's burner account, you looked as white as Casper for about 10 minutes after reading it? She punked you.
I didn't actually read the comment.
I'm the one who read the comment. I didn't read the whole comment, but I popped it up on the screen. I was definitely a little embarrassed.
I didn't get to read it, so I don't know what it said, but when I saw TJ react the way he did, I knew it must have been something bad.
I don't know what that means, Grump, but I'm going to leave that there for you.
Randolph, she was the last member she was Trixie on the Honeymooners.
Gotcha.
And I knew her name, but then as soon as I was thinking Audrey Meadows, I forgot about Joyce Randolph.
Alexander saying, Grump TJ, any chance we can net a first-round pick for Komarov just asking for a friend? No, we cannot.
Sarcasm off.
Oh, goodness gracious. TJ left to call Lou. I did leave to call Lou there real quick. Yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't leave to go blow up the bathroom. I did need to go take a little short break there. What a film saying, love listening to you guys, especially on a day off. Great show. Yeah, we're wrapping things up there. Thanks for tuning in there. What a films.
I see something right at the end. It says from Scott Levy, Grump, check out the boot camp match, Sergeant Slaughter versus Iron Sheik at Madison Square Garden. I remember that match. I remember seeing it on the Madison Square Garden Network live. I have that on a videotape as well as on a DVD from Bloodiest Matches or something like that. It's a fantastic match.
David C wants to know, how's that pizza your son brought you there after the last podcast, Grump? Man, I want some pizza now.
It wasn't pizza, okay? It was McDonald's, okay? And he messed up the order because I eat my food plain. Like when I say plain, I mean like a burger and a freaking bun, plain. So I said I wanted a 1/4-pound hamburger plain. So he put the order in and they put cheese on it. And I said, did you say to them 1/4-pound hamburger plain? So he got pissed because he had to, instead of being smart and checking the order before you pull away, what did he do? He drove off the line, checked, and then had to get back on the line. So I hear him yelling and screaming at me, like, and my wife gets angry because I'm yelling at him. He's yelling at me. She's like, I'm trying to sleep up here. And so he had to go around again. He said, I'm never getting you McDonald's again. I said, well, you know what? Dumbass.
Seems a little over dramatic.
This is true. All true.
Brian J wants to know, TJ, do you get 50% off your haircut since you only have half the hair? Shit, that's a joke I'm going to have to start using at the barber. I'm going to have to start saying now, I'm like, hey, do I get a – that's a great way to break the ice. They'll get them chuckling right away, whoever cuts my hair. Oh, yeah. That's a good joke.
I think the next joke should be, TJ, do you comb your hair with a washcloth?
I have to comb my hair very delicately. I put it strand by strand in place. Just – so, yes, I got to be very, very careful. Tommy B wants to know, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, what are your predictions for tomorrow night's game in Boston? Grump, go ahead. What's your prediction?
I think if we play, we win. I hope so.
If we play, we win. I think we're going to win, too. Oh, gosh. I'm scrolling through the comments here. What a film said, don't shave it until you're married to Paige. She's too pretty for you. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah,
you definitely outkicked your coverage on that one.
Paige, funny thing, she chimes in and says, not ready to be married to the bald guy yet. Wow. Oh, goodness gracious.
TJ taking the verbal slams today.
I know. Oh, damn. Alexander saying, TJ, thought I saw you in a Rogaine commercial. LOL.
Yeah, they did. It was the before portion.
Exactly. Then they go ahead and cut to the actor that they like only show you like from this portion on. They got like a huge set of hair. They changed their hair color and everything like that. So yes.
TJ does not have a forehead. He has a 5-head.
It's definitely more than a forehead, I'll tell you that much. Brian P. saying all commentators in hockey, football ask the same dumb questions between periods and halftime. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's usually why I tune them out. But yeah, they told exactly what the ask question was. I don't put too much there on Shannon because I think everything is asked there. They say, hey, ask him this question. I don't think Shannon has too much creativity control with that. Maybe she does, but probably not.
I agree.
Oh, goodness. Everybody just saying, just kidding. Love you, TJ. Yeah, everybody over there is saying I love you. I don't mind. I don't mind my hair is going. It is what it is. It doesn't bother me one bit.
TJ is such a big egomaniac that even if he gets taken down a couple of notches, it's probably good for him.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. Oh, goodness gracious. If we win, can we shave your head and get...
I say if we win the Stanley Cup, we shave TJ's head.
I'll technically be after the wedding. If we win the Stanley Cup, I'll shave my head. I'll shave my head. You can mark it down in the books. If we win the Stanley Cup this year, I'll shave my head.
Well, no risk of that. Don't worry.
I will shave my head if we win the Stanley Cup this year. I don't have approval yet from Paige or anything like that. I'm just going to go off on a limb. I can't. I don't even want to know what I'd look like with no hair. I mean, like, I'm sure it's coming one day, but if we win the Stanley Cup this year, I'll shave my head. And it's going to take like 15 years. I'd never grow back the same, right? Because it takes so long to grow back because there's so few of them. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, if we win the Stanley Cup this year, I'll shave my head.
Okay. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about that.
Grump, fair enough there. Fair enough. Oh, goodness gracious. We are scrolling right along. You're doing a weird angle there, Grump. It's very, very odd.
You're supposed to be laughing at the comments, or how about this? Hey, look, it's me.
Oh, God Almighty! It's amateur hour over here with Grump. Now that he's got a chance to move, and I've unrestricted him. The Wicked 50 Cal said also liked Bobby Brink, but at least Samuel Bolduc seems to be better than Holmstrom. LMAO, Bolduc's done really well.
I know Bobby Brink is, he's been a goal scorer, but to me, he was just too small, and that's why I didn't want him. But looking at Holmstrom, well, maybe Bobby Brink would have been a better pick.
What a film says Brett the Hitman Hart. He owned the Calgary Hitmen. Did he really? I didn't know that.
Yep. They even wore I think their colors were even the pink and black initially. I don't know what they are now.
The Wicked 50 Cal says, I would thought Brendan Burke looked like Jimmy Neutron. Grump, do you know who Jimmy Neutron is?
Yeah, Jimmy Neutron. He's a boy genius.
Oh, okay. I was making sure you knew who that was. I know that's a young reference for you. Wasn't sure if you caught on with that.
I had children. They liked Jimmy Neutron. And there was some girl who was always outsmarting him. I don't know her name. Girly Neutron. I don't know her name.
Well, it seems like we're talking now more about wrestling. Frank, hey, he just changed his profile picture back to the long hair there, different angle there. Great worker. Gimmick worked at the time. Nobody beats the Ric Flair. Ooh, that's funny. I met Ric Flair. I met Ric Flair in court.
Nice guy.
I met him when I was downtown court. I met Ric Flair once before. Nice guy. Nobody really knew who he was. I immediately am like, you're Ric Flair. You're a nature boy.
You've seen one Ric Flair match. You've seen them all, though. They're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
He go.
Oh, this one, John P. saying, TJ, how the hell do you not know who Steve Perry is?
Because he's a loser. That's why.
Brian P. said, hey, what's with the bald hate? LOL.
Oh,
Jesus Christ. Bald is beautiful. I tell you, I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna take that mantra. I don't mind.
You know what makes bald jokes? Guys who have hair. That's it. You don't see bald guys making bald jokes.
Paige is giving me that weird look, saying I'd shave my head if the Islanders win the cup this year. Oh, goodness gracious. You have no choice, TJ. It's coming. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, goodness gracious. Why was I in court? I used to work there this is many years ago. I used to work there for a lawyer in town. I was like, wanted to see if that's a profession I wanted to follow up in. And after about one summer, I determined no way in hell did I want to be at all involved there with a lawyer or anything like that. Just wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, the main reason that TJ did not want to be a lawyer is because you can't walk by a jury box and have hair falling into their lap. It's just not a good look. It just is. I'm sorry.
Oh, goodness gracious. Sean W. is saying, with Lee at the remainder of the season, and Leo obviously a fish out of water in the first line, who would you like to see there with Barzal in the first line, Wallstrom or Beauvillier or someone else? Again, I don't think we're going to do anything big trade-wise. I know we kind of talked about this there before. I don't think we're going to make any huge splash on water. As much as Grump wants to see Philip Forsberg, don't think that's happening. I think if we make an adjustment, and I think we will, it's going to be probably for a rental, and I hope it's a top six guy, but no guarantees. I think it has to be somebody that's familiar there with Barry Trotz.
First of all, I would not break up the third line right now. It's just playing too well together. I'd give Bellows another shot. I mean, all he did was produce when he played on the first line. That's what you need, right? Production from your first line.
We got here the Wicked 50 Cal is saying Robin Salo, Bodie Wild, and the kid from Merrick. Yeah, from Merrimack College. Alex Jeffries and Ruslan Ishikov all look to be pretty decent prospects as well. Yeah, for certain they do. I'm excited about those type of guys. And again, our defense is stout. I mean, people also forget about Parker Weatherspoon, Mitchell Blansample. There's a lot of people you're excited about there. Alexander wants to know here, Grumpy Old Man versus Komarov, how many goals would you score, Grump?
Twice as many as Komarov.
Oh, stop. Komarov would skate circles around you. Grump, I'm not even sure you can stand on skates anymore.
How many goals does Komarov have?
Was that?
How many goals does Komarov have? 0?
I don't know. I think he's got at least an assist, though. 2 assists, 3 assists.
Goals was how many goals? He has 0. 2 times 0 is still 0. So.
Oh, goodness gracious. Buzz It TJ saves a lot of time and money. Take it from a bald guy there. TJ try the backwards mohawk. Ross saying there, all-time Islanders starting lineup.
Wow. Okay. Trottier, Bossy, Gillies, Potvin. I don't know. I mean, I know everybody says Billy Smith, but I guess he's a Hall of Famer. You got to go with him. And for the other defensemen, geez. Well, you know what? I'm going to put Stefan Pearson on there because he played so well with Potvin.
Fair enough.
I'm old retro 1980. Sorry.
Fair enough. Hey, all retro 1980s is what it sounds like.
With the exception of Pearson, they're all Hall of Famers.
And Brian P says, put Bellows in for now. Tommy B saying there, TJ needs to wear the AJ wig for one show. If it would look bad, I'd look like I had too much hair. Like, again, my forehead's big. That's what always helped me hammer other people when I played football because I had a big head. Didn't really hurt me too much. At least that's what.
Did anyone ever say you look like Peyton Manning with that forehead?
I used to have people make fun of my big forehead all the time. It just is. It's always coming to territory. Now, my forehead's ever expanding like Peyton Manning's, though, too. I'm sure. Maybe I can have the little Peyton Manning, a little tuft of hair one day. Except I'll be half as or a minuscule portion as talented and also have a minuscule amount of the net worth there as Peyton Manning does as well. Brian J. saying, I think Bodie Wild's going to surprise a lot of people there. And then Alexander saying, Hickey nailed Druin in the playoffs. Don't forget that. Yeah, most certainly he did.
Yeah, that's true. That's all I'll say about that. I think Bodie Wild has not had a good year this year. I mean, I wonder if they're going to sour on him as a prospect. Now, here's the thing. Would Bodie Wild, including him in a deal for maybe a better player, I would do that.
Okay, here's my thing. They only played like 10 or 11 games there in Bridgeport. Hard to see how much he's improved. I mean, like that was the shittiest part about the Bridgeport thing altogether is we knew they weren't going to get a lot of games, which is the bad portion about all of this. Ross wants to know who I've got there in my top Islanders of all time. I'm going to keep the forwards, and I mean, Poffin obviously going to say the same there too on defense. We're obviously going to keep Billy Smith there in net. I'm really not sure who I'd put there as a second defenseman. Everything else is pretty much the exact same as Grump.
You can't go wrong with Hall of Famers.
I was about to say, and like the Islanders Mount Rushmore, you can't really go wrong with any of those selections. I don't know. I'm really not sure who I'd put there as that other defenseman. Yeah.
How about Andrew McDonald or Thomas Hickey?
No, stop. Maybe. Oh, Jesus. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't think we have anybody else who sticks out as like that number 2 best overall defenseman we've ever had.
Well, that's
so. We are moving right along there. People are saying they're going to shave my head there with you, TJ.
Man, TJ's head taking a beating today.
Oh, goodness gracious. That it is. It all started from that Jerry Springer guy. It all started from Jerry. And with the Wiki 50 Cal saying, after our rookies lose out in rookie status, who is the best prospect in your opinions? Grump.
Bolduc, right?
I'd have to think Bolduc. Bolduc's probably the guy that they're most bullish on down there. If I'm thinking like offensive talented, I think maybe it's Jeffries. I mean, like I know William Defore's done well there in a Q this year, but in the same token, I think it's Jeffries. He's played really well there at Merrimack College in a little bit of time he had this season. Just chugging right along. Okay, William Defore is also a notable player. Apparently, he was projected to go in the second round. The Islanders got him there in a 5th.
Yeah, he's a big kid too.
He's a scorer, that is for sure.
I like that pick in the 5th round. I thought that was their best pick overall.
Gotcha. Oh, goodness. We got last question here. He said, how about post-cup, Grump? Ross wants to know, post-cup, best Islanders.
Oh, post-cup. Okay, you got to go with Tavares. Oh, gosh, post-cup. Oh, I'm sorry. Pat LaFontaine is your center. I want to put Turgeon out there too. I mean, if you just want to go top 5 players, I don't know. But Steve Thomas, I loved him. Thought he was good.
Does Berard find it in the list there for you?
Brian, no, he didn't play. No. I mean, I like Brian Berard, but I don't think so. Defensively, Kenny Janssen, I thought he was really solid during some bad times. I liked him. Goaltender, I got to say, not Yashin. Michael Peck is another one. Benoit Hogue, just for forwards. For goaltender, gosh, I don't know. Honestly, I'd have to think about goaltender post-cup years. Not Ron Hextall.
Oh, goodness.
Glenn Healy was good for a year, but I mean, overall.
If I'm just picking 3 forwards, I'm going Turgeon, Yashin, Palffy.
Yeah, Palffy, that's right, Palffy, yeah.
So that's who I'm going with there. If I'm having to pick their 3 forwards, goalie, ooh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
How about Roberto Luongo? Even though
Yeah, he was good, but he only played such a limited time. So again, like we haven't had a guy here long term that's done really, really well for the Islanders since post Cup. I don't think. We've had stopgap guys. I'm definitely not picking a Rick DiPietro or anything like that.
No.
Defense.
I like Kenny Johnson. I always liked him.
Does Travis Hamonic find a way on the list for you? The Hammer. I mean, he was really good with the Islanders. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Roman Hammerlick was good with us for a couple of years, but I don't know.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm going to end on this note. My defenseman would be Thomas Hickey, paired up there with Andrew McDonald.
Oh, my God.
Goalie. I'm not sure goalie's it's any way you can put it. Forward group, I'm going to go with Leo Komarov, Robbie Shrimp, and right wing.
Josh Bailey.
There you go, Josh Bailey. Good way to end it here, Grump. Osgood. Did we forget Osgood?
Chris Osgood. Yeah, he was good. That's right.
And Joey McDonald. Okay, there's definitely players that we had forgot.
Not Joey McDonald. But yeah, Chris Osgood was good for us for a few years.
Oh, goodness gracious. We got it there. Woulda Films is also saying here, you guys are so good together. I laugh my ass off while listening to the Islanders talk. Thank you. I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in there. I'm just getting here for the last little bit there. Sean W. is saying there, that's awesome. You guys are very interactive with the chat so much. Appreciate it, gentlemen. So serious question with the expansion draft approach in the offseason. This has me a little nervous there about the impact and the culture on Trotz had created on the island. What do you feel like we would be losing player or draft pick wise? I think it's going to try to be like a cap dump. You can keep them on long-term injury. You'll keep Lee there on long-term injury. You don't have to protect them. You're going to get a cap dump situation. You're going to give up some draft capital is what I think is going to happen.
I don't think we can afford to give up draft capital. Honestly, you're only going to lose one player. One guy is not going to ruin this team. It just not. So, I mean, that's why they made all that. They gave away so much to Vegas the last time to take certain players, and so they wouldn't take Calvin DeHaan. And you gave up a first-round pick, and I just don't think that's the way to go. I think we need younger blood. I think we need first-round picks. If we lose a Josh Bailey, if we lose a Nick Leddy, if we lose a Scott Mayfield, I don't think the loss is monumental to overcome. I just don't.
Thank you, Grump. Thank you, everybody who participated here in the live stream and listens to the podcast. Again, Grump and I are two Islander fans who love to talk hockey, love to talk about the team that we love. Again, long one for us today, 2 hours and 30 minutes. I'm going to skedaddle. Thank you, Grumpy, for being a part of the podcast as always.
My pleasure. And
thank you so much for everybody who participated in the live stream. We do love being able to participate with everybody and speak with everybody who does listen there to the podcast in the live stream. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. And we will see you Saturday. Is it going to be Saturday, Grump? We don't have the game Sunday, right?
Post-game.
We're going to see you Saturday post-game. Thank you so much again, Grumpy.
My pleasure.